What's up, guys? Welcome. We made it finally to the first debate between Trump and Harris. Hope you guys are doing great. Welcome to the stream. We got some fun stuff planned tonight. Hopefully everything goes well. Hope you guys are great. Had a great day. Bitcoin sitting at 57.6, back up in the echelon of the high 57K range. Yeah. Hope you guys are doing great, man. We're on our way. We're on our path, right? We're on the right trajectory towards 100K Bitcoin. BTC one day will be 100K by end of the year, possibly. And look at this, guys. Look at this crazy price prediction from yesterday. I mean, am I right or am I right? I mean, I'm probably more often than right. This is insane. I was so damn on it yesterday. Look at that. Almost all the peaks. Again, proper time frames. Market sentiment. It's right there. You see it on the charts every single day. This is what happens. And yeah, we pretty much hit it dead on yesterday when we called this. I don't know how I do it. I must be channeling dead people, as I always say. But yeah, this happened yesterday. And damn, dude, spot on. I don't have enough. I can't even pat myself on the back properly. But yeah, that's what's going on. Bitcoin pushing back up towards 60K, possibly. I think, you know what, depending on what happens tonight, we could see a $60,000 Bitcoin back in that range again. And then, of course, possibly a $65,000 to $70,000 Bitcoin, depending on how tonight goes into tomorrow, the CPI reading with Jerome Powell. That's kind of what I'm waiting for. I think I don't know if did we still have that mapped out from yesterday? Maybe not. I think we might have closed that since we kind of invalidated everything yesterday. We're kind of 1 for 1 this week. I think I've got 2 out of 3 so far. Not too bad. Yesterday was kind of a close start to finish wash. Yeah, I got washed out. But yeah, again, this is why we don't mess around with shorts and longs. But you know what? If I were to take my time, I'd probably be a good trader one day. Anyway, moving on. Enough of the small talk, right? Enough patting myself on the back. Bitcoin, of course, is waiting on the huge sentiment. We have no idea what's going to happen tonight. We are with an hour away with, Trump and Harris about to jump into the fray. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I am going to hopefully get some friends on tonight to watch the debate with. I'm going to see if some old friends of mine are going to join in and maybe give some takes on their perspective on this whole rigmarole with Trump and Harris. You guys know what we need in the space. There's not going to be too much action going on today. Everyone's going to be pretty much watching this with their grandmother. So it's going to be kind of a slow night. So I might just, I don't know. I might just call it, depending on if anyone drops on by or not. We shall see. But anyway, going into the particular key indicators as we do every single day. Market cap. Heat map right now. I'm all over the place. All over the damn place. I made a drink already. I'm already drinking up. Getting started. Have some of that Maker's Mark tonight whiskey. Pretty damn strong stuff. Got to mix it with everything under the kitchen sink. But yeah, looks like we're kind of just going sideways. Bulls and bears kind of just oversold, overbought. Kind of stuck in this zone right now between 57.4 and 57.7. We've been pretty much there all day, actually. I think at one point 56.3 was kind of our tough spot to break through, but we did it, and here we are, up in the top 57K range. Moving on, how much more money is we spending today? It doesn't look like too much more. Maybe 8 billion more, 10 billion more, something like that since yesterday. Nothing too crazy to see there. Just gonna run through all this real quick. Get it all out of the way. Fear and greed index for the stock market still sitting at 40. Nothing really new to see there. Of course, with all of the economic situations right now, just kind of a standstill waiting for the week to end on all the data. Crypto and fear greed index still sitting at the 33, 37. It's coming back up. We're going back into the neutral as we should be. There's really no reason to be fudding this market right now, other than a possible Harris win tonight. That might be the only thing to look at. pushing us down back into fear. All right, and then the dollar still sitting flat at 101.6. Nothing new to see there as well, of course, on its monthly downtrend. All right, continuing on. Crypto bubbles, everything kind of up today. Everything looking green today, looking pretty good on the hour, kind of coming back down and consolidating. Looks like the big holders today are, just in the green after all that's happened today. Still Bitcoin at under a fraction of a percent. BSV holding 8%. And what else are we going to give the day to? I was going to give it to JASMY, but JASMY already kind of fell back down in this evening. We were at 2 cents. 2 cents when we started the damn show. And now we're coming back down a percentage into, we're still sitting at roughly 2 cents. I would say 1.9 on some exchanges. All right, moving on. Still strong for JASMY right now, especially with Bitcoin. Especially with all the turmoil around, the nonsense around Bitcoin. My favorite indicator, guys, every single day. Look at this. Look at this big dip. What is going on? Oh, man. Bitcoin, of course, across all exchanges. This is it. This is all that is left to purchase in the United States, in the world. It don't matter, man. 2.36, the lowest on record. We went down 0.02 points on 0.02 million for Bitcoin. That's all. Again, that's all that is left to purchase, with including the 450 that we're mining every single day. Don't forget that as well. We cannot keep enough Bitcoin around for everyone. This is your time. Get in that bucket, right? Get in that bucket, right? I got my favorite bucket out tonight. Guys, remember that year? I can't say it. But yeah, it's my favorite popcorn bucket for the debate tonight. But we gotta reach down in that bucket and grab what little you have left to pick up. There's only 2.37 million Bitcoin left to purchase out of 21 million. Never gonna have a better opportunity than now, possibly, to pick up some more Bitcoin on the low. All right, moving into, of course, BitcoinTreasuries.net. We have any new news on this? Do I even waste my time on this? It's never updated anymore. Bitcoin shares Treasury Trust is probably still sitting on the 30th of August. Yep, still behind. Going back to holdings on Apollo for IBIT. Jesus, man. I'm gonna figure out how to read this one soon, guys. Looks like IBIT's still sitting at 357K. I think they're basically just holding their current amount, right? The current amount under assets under management, AUM. They're not really selling off. There are some of these kind of bleeding off a little bit, but the bleeding's kind of a stop with the ETFs right now, and we're just kind of waiting on the back of all the news and data this week. All right, top 10 cryptos in our space. Tron's still sitting at number 10. Toncoin is at number 9 now. Wait. Tron moved into 10. Toncoin's at 9 now. That's crazy. And then Cardano is sitting back at 11. Avalanche at 12. That was 11 yesterday. That's nuts. We've actually got some movement here in the top 10. This is pretty much what we focus on here on this particular indicator. And of course, honorable mention goes out to JASMY, our favorite coin, our favorite altcoin here on the channel. JASMY's still holding on to 64 in terms of market cap ranking. All right. Top 10 assets in the world. Bitcoin's still holding on number 10 slot. Berkshire Hathaway still pushing back farther away from that 1 trillion, down from that from last week. All right, moving on. Bitcoin Rainbow chart, my favorite chart, guys. Where are we at? Still in the fire sale. You know what that means. We're going to burn another penny. Oh, damn it. We're going to burn another penny again. Yes, again. With, of course, the Bitcoin pizza lighter. Here we go. Bye-bye, Benny. Bye-bye. I'm sorry, Benny. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, we might have to say one for tonight's bingo, too. Dang it. If we get bingo tonight, we're going to burn another penny, too. Oh, no. No. There he goes. Bye-bye, Benny. No more, Benny. No more. Ah! Oh, my God. And my microphone's falling everywhere. No. I'm going to burn the studio down. Ah. All right. Benny's now blind. He's got no more eyeballs. He's blind. Okay. Benny has been burned, singed. I think that's the 7th one we burned on the channel now. When are we ever going to get out of these ranges, man? Bitcoin's a fire sale. You guys better be buying. You guys better not stop buying crypto sitting in the fire cell. These Rangers are not going to stay here for long. Moving on. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the debate starts at 9. I've heard. At first it was 8 p.m. Then I heard 9 p.m. Let's take a look at the debate real quick just to make sure we are up to date on the time. Harris Trump debate. See what's going on. Where can we watch it? As we prep the stream for tonight? It's going to be a crazy night, guys. I know. I'm pretty sure I expect Trump to be very tame this time, just like he was with Biden, and basically make them look bad by saying nothing derogatory or acting out like he did back in 2016. I watched the first debate, yada yada yada. This may be the only one. We get. We don't know. We're gonna watch it. You know what? I'm just gonna go to. Screw it. I'm just gonna go to YouTube. We already burnt our Benny for the night. We'll probably burn another one if we get bingo. All right. Harris debate. Trump. Harris debate Trump. All right. Looks like this one was started 14 minutes ago.
The countdown to the ABC News presidential debate
counting.
1 week from tonight. Of course, right here.
We're counting down. Oh, this is not even live. What?
But it is Tuesday after Labor Day. Rachel, thank you. Let's get right to our Washington Bureau Chief, Political Director Rick Klein. Rick, this new ABC News Ipsos poll shows a very close race coming out of Labor Day.
Where's all the lives?
David, our latest poll with Ipsos shows Vice President.
Stuff he puts on Truth Social where he calls her.
All right. So we're just gonna keep that. She's dumb. Oh, she's bad. She's so effing bad, right? That's what he said on the golf course. We showed that
the ABC News
video
presidential debate 1
a
week
while
from tonight.
back.
Of course, right here on ABC, Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump face to face.
Moving on. All right, so we're gonna keep that in the background just in case they get on. We'll keep that going for the live. I think you should be able to see it behind me. Yeah, you can kind of see it behind me and also in the shadow, I believe, on the screen. Okay, moving on. There are some news we want to get into tonight, possibly. Hamster Combat, there's more news on that. I don't really care about that game. That's on Ton Network, Telegram Network. We got Glassnode reports. Rising Bitcoin hash rate, ETF outflows, and lowered. Brazilian tax watchdog uses AI tool to identify operations leaked. There's really nothing new today. It's been kind of a sit and wait and see kind of day. Crypto All Stars again in the news. It's a new meme coin project. The battle of the memes and bet on them or whatever. PayPal Venmo to accept ENS human readable blockchain names. That's interesting. That's almost like doing a naming service. I think we covered that at the beginning of the year as well. Solana whales buy big. Looming for Solana price increase. Really, I don't think we got anything, man. We got like nothing tonight. Nothing. We got nothing. FBI exposes one of the most prevalent crypto scams. Ooh. What scam was it? Ooh, I wonder. Probably nothing. Federal Bureau of Investigation has issued another cryptocurrency warning. Little old ladies are getting pushed towards going to the supermarket and cashing out all their monies into the Bitcoin vending machine and then sending the address to the scammers. There's so many of those going on right now. It's unfortunate. Fraudsters start pitching various investment opportunities during conversations. Victims are often asked to download some sketchy investment apps and make initial deposits, of course, to get them to those machines, probably. Yeah, some scammers might also not stop there, since they can also start targeting the victim's family members. Oh yeah, it just keeps going on. It's the same stuff we covered last week. Probably they just keep pumping out more and more articles about it. What else we got going on in the news? Sonic blockchain sets new speed record with 720 millisecond TPU transactions per TPS transactions per second, probably. What do we got here? Ripple adds Ethereum compatible smart contracts. Yes, we covered that last week. That's pretty cool stuff. The news today is just kind of lackluster, guys. Vitalik wallet sells. It's more, probably just more donations again. Everyone kind of blows up Vitalik every time he turns up starts sending money around his wallets. Bitcoin dips below 58K as market faces bearish pressure. What's tonight's debate, really? The economic pressure from China? That'd be more like it. Yeah, I mean, there's just really no news tonight, guys. Everything's on the back of this debate and tomorrow's CPI reading. Yeah, it's pretty much all the same thing here, of course, on CoinDesk.com as well. First mover America's Bitcoin reaches this. Yeah, I mean, we're looking at the same stuff. Michael Saylor says Republicans have more progressive view. That was yesterday on the news. CNBC said it. His actual prediction live, of course, to all the businessmen watching CNBC. So everyone knows more and more every single day about Bitcoin. Meme coin, that's Roaring Kitty. This is a day ago. This is old news. Cryptonews.com is again producing nothing new. That might be it. I think that's it. I think we have no news today. It's a zero news kind of a day. BitGo deploys wrapped BTC on Avalanche and Binance blockchain. More wrapped tokens, man. I'm not. You don't want to be touching that. I actually I have a sad sob story about wrapped tokens. Back in the day, 2021, I was learning about crypto. I lost about $200, about the biggest I've ever lost in any crypto asset. To at the time, Coinbase was only supplying wrapped. Was it Luna? It was Luna back then, not Luna Classic, but it became Luna Classic, which I went to zero because yeah, you guys you're familiar with that project. It went to zero. Yeah, I lost about $200 there. Nah, big deal. It is what it is. You win some, you lose some, and when you win some, you win some. That's where we are today, 3 years later. So WorldCoin probe Singapore investigates account misuse. Hopefully this is against WorldCoin because I'd love to see some negative news on that project. It's not my favorite project. I don't like that they scan your eyeballs and sends us into dystopian future mayhem. Of course, that's where we live every single day in our dystopian future, where AI, robots, and the like are going to be taking your jobs, guys. Don't you forget it. If you're a driver, a telemarketer, a lawyer, an accountant, entry level representative of any kind, right? Anything, a fast food worker, factory worker, you're going to be replaced by AI and robots here in the next year to 5 years. All of your jobs are going to be replaced. Why do you think they got that progressive movement for the UPS drivers, right? Because all those trucks are going to be replaced by electronic vehicles, robot drones, delivery trucks here in the next 3 to 5 years. That's why they have that 3 to 5 year contract with UPS. Give them at least $120,000 per worker right now. It's crazy. It's crazy. So don't you forget, we're slipping into the future. And that brings us, of course, to WorldCoin. Guys, if you're familiar with WorldCoin, that's the project where you can scan your eyeball to basically keep your count of your ID on the blockchain through your retina. Everyone has a unique retina. And yeah, it'll identify you anywhere you go as long as you scan your eyeball, and they will give you $50 to start. That's what they did in Nigeria back in, what was it, 2022, I think, when we rolled out. But yeah, WorldCoin is subject to investigations across multiple jurisdictions. Global regulatory backlash focused on data privacy concerns. As it should. Just scanning your eyeballs, man. Why is not everyone scared of this? I don't know why. Singapore probes the illegal misuse of WorldCoin's accounts. WorldCoin aims to create universal access to the global economy, which vision is to enter around the world as ID verification system, primary ID verification system for the whole world. That's why it's called WorldCoin. Despite the efforts to enhance its reputation, such as introducing a face verification alongside what? They want to also include a face verification alongside the retina scans too. Look at that. Hey! Focused. How's it going, man? How's it going? It's going to be crazy. Yes, we're planning on streaming the debate tonight, and I'm hoping to get some people on the live as well. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I've got some old friends that might be dropping on by through voice on Discord. I still would like to get you on here at some time, Focused. I'd love to get you back to back at one point because man, you've been here since the beginning for me. Jeez, it's been a long time. But yeah, I can't believe this WorldCoin stuff, man. I mean, why is no one else worried about this freaking coin? I can't be the only one who's like, dystopian future. This is not the route you want to take. But I digress, right? I digress. So yeah, hopefully we dig more into this project and they get more scrutinized, because we should not be basically giving out our identities everywhere we go. across every nation, when we already have these global security measures in every major country. Again, Snowden has told us what they've been using for the last 10, 20 years. It's incredible what the CIA is capable of. People just go along, just to go along. Yeah, that's how it goes, man. That's why I always say when it comes to these, not just the debates, but when the election comes and they just see a name on a ballot, they're like, I know that name. Check. And that's pretty much how it goes when it comes to any major election, whether that's congressmen and women, U.S. senators, U.S. local politicians, like your mayors, governors, all those sort of things, man. I mean, it's all the same nonsense. People they're sheep. They really are. And I hate to say that. I don't mean to hurt anyone's feelings, but it's kind of the way of the land, right? The rule of law deems it so. All right, so yeah, that's what's going on with our dystopian future segment for the evening. WorldCoin again. Hopefully they get down on business on this, because I'm still not happy with that project. Polygon, of course, is in the news again, which is amazing. That's 2 times in 1 week. That's unheard of for Polygon. AI like ZK Boom with $5 million custom chip investment. That's pretty bullish. That's pretty bullish for Polygon. Yeah, custom chip manufacturing for the Polygon blockchain. It sounds like I'm not going to dive into that. We don't have much time. I gotta get people. I gotta get people on the live. The debate's gonna start here soon. We're just still watching. It looks like they've got the weather covering their weather right now. It's behind me. But yeah, keeping an eye on when we're gonna get live with that. And then financial giant Standard Charter announces new digital asset custody service in UAE. There's really no news tonight. Nothing. Everyone's just waiting, holding, being patient. Yes. I do want to go over kind of my prediction for this evening. Look how close I was yesterday, Focused. Isn't that insane? Like, that's twice this week, 2 out of 3 this week so far, from the weekend into Monday, and now, yeah, this is crazy. Pretty damn close. Pretty damn close. I hit almost every single peak on that entire chart, just by focusing on those time zones, and the time frames and the market sentiment last night. But what I think is going to happen tonight, and it's unreliable because we don't know where the market's really going to take us with the AI bots trading and the human effort while watching the debate across the world. This is not just for the United States. A world is going to be watching tonight. I would imagine that Bitcoin, if it gets a very bullish sentiment after this debate, is going to hit somewhere in the 60K range. Probably 60K tonight, maybe 50, maybe even get close. Maybe when we get started, 9 o'clock here soon in a bit. We get started, it's going to end around 11 o'clock. Maybe there's going to be something like this inching up into about 59 something, 58 something, somewhere in that range. And then we're going to come back down, of course, into tomorrow's market open, which would be 9/11, of course, 9/11, 9 a.m. Sell off in the market, some of those gains, probably down to the range we've been stuck at all day today. So somewhere down there. And then, of course, waiting for the CPI, right? As we predicted back here, this pump, but this pump came 2 days early. That was yesterday's prediction from the weekend. That was insane how close I was on that, too. Same pattern, just a day off. But yeah, so something like that. And then I think we're going to probably... climb back up during the day to about, what would be like in the afternoon sometime. Oh, he does his speech around 1 p.m. So something like that. And then we'll probably see some crazy wick up to send us back up to like maybe 60, maybe 64, something like that. Something crazy. Because if we get a 50 base rate cut, dude, this could get insane. We could either land here if we get a 25, and maybe even higher if we get a 50. That's what I'm guessing. That's just my guesstimate. I'm guessing. But I like doing predictions. They're fun. And you know what? A lot of times it's like everyone has the same thought. It just plays out, right? But there's a lot of times where you think everything's going to go a certain way and everyone else does as well. And if enough people do, then it doesn't go that direction. Because everyone's going to sell the news, man. It's going to be buy the rumor, sell the news all over again. Oh, man. Let's catch up on the chat, man. I've been ranting and raving. People just go along. Yes, the tagline from the movie, Distinguished Gentleman with Jeff Johnson. The name you know. Oh, jeez. Wow. I'm not familiar with that reference or that movie. Yes, it's going to be hilarious to see them two go at it tonight. It's going to be insane. And then Nicholas, yeah, welcome to the stream. Hey, Nicholas, shouts out to Focus as well. Yeah, dude, this is insane. Where we're going to head tonight, I can't wait to see. We still have a good half hour till we start. I mean, I thought this was going to start at 8 p.m., which is normally when we start our show. But no, it's actually going to roll off here at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we're actually going to see Japan open. They're going to be awake in the morning for this stream. I mean, it's going to be insane for the debate. I mean, and I've got some some bingo cards I wanna do. Let's see. There was Philadelphia Inquirer. It was my favorite cards I found. Debate, Harris, Trump. Yeah, check out these cards. They're freaking hilarious. And they even have the stamps on them too, so we can like just pull them up and stamp them as we go. We can refresh them too. Look at this one. Someone says weird. If someone says Cradle of Liberty, who the hell's gonna say that? And then you can refresh your cards here if you want a new card. Let's try to get a good one. Mainstream media. Someone's gonna say that. No, I don't know if someone would say that actually. Candidate's age. A candidate laughs. It's gonna be Kamala, of course. Oh God. Someone says Barack Obama. I don't know. Let's just try a different card there. Brat. Why would someone say brat? Would Trump call her a brat? I don't know what that's referring to. I'm speaking, and that's of course going back to some of Kamala's old debates. I don't think that's relevant in current days. Looks like they're covering some of that right now.
No stranger to the stage, from early in her career to her Senate run in
Talking about
2016, when her opponent awkwardly dabbed.
What? What?
So there's a clear difference between the candidates in this race.
Wow.
And I think the voters will.
Well, she had an opportunity
Allies
there.
point to
I guess.
Harris's past as a
Their
prosecutor
opponent
and
dabbed.
arguing her experience
That's
helps
weird.
shape sharp arguments.
Whatever the vice president
Yeah, it
is
looks like she's
claiming
been
the
playing with
administration has
the
done.
big
Clearly,
leagues,
it
right?
hasn't worked.
And Harris drawing on her personal background, like in this key
There's Bernie.
exchange in the 2020
that.
primary
There's
with her
Biden.
future boss.
You also worked with them to oppose
Damn.
busing.
Crazy
And,
times.
You know, there was a little girl.
All right,
in
getting back
California.
into picking our bingo chips. Our bingo. Canada goes overtime. The construction or the Constitution. It's the Constitution. I'm thinking of the wall. I'm surprised none of these contain wall or the wall or build the wall or MAGA or anything like that. Awkward handshake. I don't even know if they're gonna shake. I don't think Trump and Biden even shook last time. Billions and billions. I'm speaking. Middle class. Hannibal Lecter. Why would anyone say that either? I was referring to something else I'm not familiar with. Let's just keep going. Crime in Philly. Jesus. We're at the crossroads. The birthplace of democracy. I don't know. I feel like this one might be a winner. Joe Biden, the Project 2025, weird. Moderator says the question was what? I don't know. Black jobs, Joe Biden, the candidate laughs, we're at a crossroads, Barack Obama. That one might be a good winner right there. Putin, I'm speaking. Childless cat ladies? What in the world? All right, we're gonna try this one. This one's ridiculous. And then there's Hannibal Lecter there as well. I'm gonna put this one in the middle. Anything. So my rules tonight for our bingo card is if they say anything about crypto, either side, we already gonna fill it. We're basically gonna call this bingo. That's my rules for the night. And we're gonna burn a Benny. We already burned a Benny because we're in the fire sale. We already burnt that as soon as we started the show. This is like the 6th or 7th day in a row. We've been a week now on the fire sale range. Guys, be buying some crypto right now. Take advantage of these dips. Not going to say it again. Or I probably will say it again. I can't stop saying it. I'll have to file that Benny away with the rest of them. Say la vie. But yeah, hoping that some of my buddies turn out. I don't know. It does not look like they are going to show tonight. Everyone's getting cold feet. They do not want to be on the interwebs. I see. Oh, man. Yeah, so we still got a half hour. Alrighty, let's go check on the normies, I guess. And Bitcoin.com has probably no news today. No, everything's 2024, September 9th. September 9th, the last time they updated their website. September 10th, today, we have Russian Bitcoin miners mine over $3 billion worth of Bitcoin in 2023, according to the industry's insiders. What did they mine in 2024? Like, if they already mined $3 billion in the year past, how much more are they mining this year? That's what I want to know. Over 17 million users claim airdrop for tons. New dog-themed altcoin settling blockchain record. That's terrific. That's dogs, of course. Where's the next billion crypto users will come from? Probably India. It's probably India. According to Chainlink creator Sergey Nazarov, is it going to be Russia? In Russia, we are going to have the most crypto, largest economy. TradFi institutions will ramp on the next billion users of crypto, according to Nazarov. I do think a very large amount of users on both in total value and individuals will come from the big asset managers, big banks, and many of them having millions. Of course, they're just talking about institutions. That's the Chainlink creators' prediction, where all of our next billion users are going to come from. So the first category is retail consumers. There's only I think there's a little bit less than 1 million users, if not 1 million users of crypto right now. It's 100 million. That's what I think. I think it's just around 100 million right now. So the first category is the retail consumer using more DeFi, decentralized finance, using the public chains for the user experience. It's around private keys. Really, it still needs to be improved. I'm assuming he has a Russian accent. I kid. And then our other group will be capital markets, TradFi users, and many times might not even fully understand the care of what they're using. A blockchain-based asset. That's what we talk about all the time. All the dystopian future-esque ways to incorporate blockchain into literally everything we do without anyone even being aware of the technology, the underlying technology underneath the surface. It's coming. That's the way you're going to get mass adoption. And I don't know from which these two groups are more or larger percentage of those next billion users will come from. Double-digit percentage. I think they will might happening. It's total numbers. You might end up getting more individual people by public chain Web3 retail community side, but by total value, you might end up getting more the total value for less users than the TradFi capital market side. What a shakeup, man. If I had to guess, it's probably how the next billion users thing will shake out. Wow, shake out. Jeez. So that's according to Sergey Nazarov, co-founder of Chainlink. There's a little video there. It's half hour long. Jesus. The key points are Chainlink's roles, tokenization, flowing capital. We don't have time to go through all this. The damn thing's going to start in a half hour or less. Partnerships for Chainlink, key milestones, and the onboarding the next billion users, which this article stems from. Interesting. I'm very, very bullish on Chainlink in this interoperability in the future. We need a way to play across all the playgrounds. I like the sandbox that Ethereum has. I don't like playing in their sandbox because I get too much sand on me and it costs too much to get it out. The fees are too damn high, man. So hardly a bear market trader that nailed the 2021 Bitcoin collapse hints at incoming fireworks for Bitcoin. Coming, of course, by the end of the year. Lynn Alden in the news again, very bullish on Bitcoin over the next 5 years amid large U.S. interest payments on debt. Of course, this is pretty much the same, lining up with Cathie Wood's predictions as well. Hedge fund veteran says crypto financing quiet, quitting crisis, unveils catalyst that could spark altcoin revival. We need not only a revival, we need an actual altcoin run. It's 2024 now, man. We still haven't had an altcoin rally yet. What's going on? So that's what we're waiting for. Speaking of which, let's check and see what the normies are talking about in the Twitter space and the altcoins. Anyone talking about altcoins tonight on Crypto General? On Twitter, let's see. Token, I don't know what they're talking about there. The cost of an iPhone, Bitcoin, of course. This one's a classic. The iPhone 4S, when Bitcoin was it's in its infancy, 2011, was 162 Bitcoin for one iPhone 4S. Now, an iPhone 16 that's coming out, it's just announced yesterday, is going to be 0.014 Bitcoin in 2024. That's nothing, guys. 0.01, it's 1% of a bit, just a hair, just a butt hair above 1% of a Bitcoin for an iPhone right now. Oh my God, for an iPhone 16. Crazy times we're living in, guys. Crazy times. Bitcoin, of course, makes your life much cheaper to live. Asset class market cap comparison. $1 trillion dollars of Bitcoin, of course, versus $17 trillion of gold currently. $18 trillion worth of art. $110 trillion in the world of stocks. Fiat, $120 trillion in cash, supposedly. Global debt, $315 trillion across all real estate, $330 trillion worth of assets. That's crazy. We're just getting started. What was it? Michael Saylor said yesterday? Bitcoin will be, what, $15 trillion, $30 trillion in 2030, by 2030, something like that. And it would be at least a $13 million Bitcoin. Yeah, we're just getting started. What in the heck is this? What? This homeless in Seattle are grilling raccoons in whole. Guys, the end of days are coming. Dystopian future's here. We're already... And there was something coming out today. I think it was in Italy. People were roasting cats in the street. What is going on? Yeah, Focus One says, yes, 13 million. And then, of course, it's Michael Saylor. Poor trash pandas. Yeah, no, you should be eating the poor trash pandas. It's one of my favorite animals, man. It sucks. It sucks they're eating the trash pandas. What would Rocket Raccoon say, man? Jesus. Donald Trump vows to make America the world capital for crypto and Bitcoin. Yes, that was a few days ago in his rally. The crypto market right now is collapsing. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's collapsing. I'd say it's just kind of stagnant. People are just overestimating the fear. The top 9 crypto coins all have something. All have something? What are they talking about? The founder is missing for Bitcoin. Look at that. The founder is out chasing girls while the team is selling Ethereum. This is great. The founder is in prison for BNB, right? Wow, this is nuts. Solana, market maker, is in prison. Wow. USDC, of course, the ones that don't have anything going for them are stable coins. And then XRP, the team is facing a lot of lawsuits, right? And then the founder does not hold any Dogecoin, right? He's out. That's right. The founder of Doge is out. And then the founder is playing Monkey for Tron. Yeah, he's playing Monkey. Oh, Jesus. Looks like some of the guys on this Discord are popping in. Is that you, Nikki? Nikki? Little Nikki? I can't hear you. Alright. Moving on, the rest of the news. We've got the trending stuff, right? Trending stuff for the normies. Trending stuff in the debate, of course, is the #1 search thing. 2 million people now are searching that right now on Google. Then we got all the normie sports nonsense. Dave Grohl, I'm assuming sports. Colombia, Argentina, sports qualifiers. Venezuela versus Uruguay, sports. Colombia, Brazil, Paraguay, PlayStation 5 Pro. It's a new console being released by Sony. USA versus New Zealand, sports. Normie sports. Germany borders, interesting. I'm not sure what that's going on there right now. Mauricio Pochettino, observing the sports. Chile versus Bolivia, sports, monarchy, Kate Middleton video, I don't know, IDK, Netherlands versus Germany, sports, normie sports, Polymarket, Polymarket, that's somewhat related to our space guys, of course, that's because Polygon is, it's their market space, guys, it's their market space. It is a crypto-centric betting platform. Don't forget, Polymarket. Jennifer, Jason, that's pretty awesome. That's in the top 10. Jennifer, Jason Lay. I don't know who that is. I'm an actor, I assume. Fruit used to treat scurvy. Lemons? Like, bro, don't be getting those scurvy now, man. Yeah, that's okay. Weird. NYT, I don't know what. weird, melodramatically and white. I don't know. Happy Gilmore sequel. We do not need that. Please don't ruin our childhoods again and again and again. They don't. Omaha shooting. I hope that's not a new one. 6 hours ago. And Adrian Peterson. That's what we got. That's what we freaking got. Alrighty. Then we've got, of course, Bitcoin. Bitcoin sitting in the past 12 months, still flatlining in the past 90 days, the last 3 months. What is going on here? That was August 5th. Pretty much nothing burger, right? Since then, flatlining. It's not dead yet. It's just a fire sale. Bye. All right, and we go back to our bingo card for the night. All right, so guys, let's just kind of recap where I think is going to happen tonight, right? Again, if a positive sentiment for Bitcoin or crypto is even talked about, which I highly doubt, it'll probably send Bitcoin at least trying to test that $60,000 target, maybe touching a little lower than that, 59, 58, somewhere in those ranges, right? We're gonna probably see something like that if Trump starts, bashing in skulls tonight. If it goes the opposite direction, obviously we're gonna go much lower and test some of these, larger targets, larger trend lines, which could send us all the way back down to 53K, which I hardly doubt, but it's a possibility. I'd say we still have tons of support at 56.5 for that to fall down and retest. So keep that in mind as well. We could retest down to 50, 53, something like that. We're gonna mark these in red so we just get some general idea where we could head. Let's do orange and red. Why not? That could send us down there if Kamala wants to just, I don't know, laugh the whole thing out and make the whole thing uncomfortable, and we just feel so bad about our country to sell everything off. I'm just saying, it could happen. It could happen, man. But yeah, haha, Justin playing Black Myth, Wukong, catching up with the chat. Poor Trash Pandas. Yes, we went over that one. And then his voice is very faint. You're talking about Nikki. He did hear Nikki for a minute. Yeah, I thought I heard him too. Oh my God. But yeah, still waiting for people to roll into the chat. Oh yeah, he sent me a message. Yes, we are watching the debate, but live streaming on YouTube. You don't have to participate if you want, but I think some of the other guys will. Just try to keep it PG-13, I guess. If you can hear me. All right. Yeah, and then I'm not worried about getting demonetized. I'm not getting monetized anyway. it's just for fun, man. It's for therapy, and maybe one day we'll get up in that top echelon of crypto influencers on YouTube. We shall see. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm predicting tonight is gonna be interesting. We're gonna get some volatility either way. It's gonna be something fun to see. Where are we at right now? Looks like they're recapping some other thing. Again, people just complaining about the inflation, the economy. Got some of the subtitles on here. I don't want to bore anyone. We still got another 15 minutes until they roll out the candidates. Fun. Alrighty, let's take a look at Polymarket while we're waiting too, because I'm curious to see if because Trump was trailing, I think like 5 or 6 points this afternoon. Let's see if he's still up there. Polymarket debate. Whoa, probably Trump. Well, Trump and Harris debate before the election. I already did that one. Harris debate. Will Trump debate on September 10th? Will the Kamala Sanders debate? Well, who will win the debate according to the polls? Right now, we have a 79% chance that Kamala will win. What? That's not good. Who's betting on that one? All right, let's go back to the main page to see what the overall sentiment is. Presidential election winner. What Trump will say during the debate. Will Kamala say in debate? And then, yeah, who will win? Yeah, it's really leaning towards Kamala now. I thought Trump was winning. Huh. That's scary. Will Trump and Harris shake hands? 33% chance. That's what I'm talking about. I'm sure ABC gave her the questions ahead of time. I'm sure they did. So according to some of the news out there, Kamala's been prepping for this now for, I think, an entire week. I think it's been better part of a week. And she's even had a Trump impersonator and an entire stage set up the exact same way they have at ABC. So I'm sure that they probably did give her the questions. They probably did. So I'm hoping that we can get some spontaneous rhetoric from Trump to kind of, push the whole thing into a bit of a chaos. Because I love chaos, number one. I love the chaos, but we need some real debate. We need some real, discussion on policy. All I have to say is, all Trump has to do is ask Kamala. She doesn't even know, say something like she doesn't even know what her policy is. Does she know what her policy is? Or maybe he can kind of call her out on some of her policy comments, because it's again not very clear to today, other than some of Biden's current policies. Nothing's really changed. So that's what I want to get out of this tonight. I want to see some clear policy out of Kamala. But again, it's not in her favor to say anything about her current policy, because as it stands, if she says nothing about changing Biden's policies, then she doesn't lose the pro-Biden votes. And then if she says something about those, then she kind of pushes those away from the non-pro-Biden votes, the ones that want new, different changes in her policy. So she's kind of stuck. And I think all it takes is for Trump to say something about policy and just kind of throw the whole thing into a hissy fit. And she's going to have to go one direction or the other. I'm surprised too. Our bingo card does not say tax on tips. Because the whole she kind of lifted that from his cabinet, right? So we'll see what happens there. Looks like they still got people, they got oligarchs still talking about it on the news before the debate begins. We gotta bring out the dancing mascots, entertain the peoples while we're waiting. We got 13 minutes left until the candidates come out, and probably not shake hands. Is that one of our bingos? Is that one of our bingos? Like no one has seen before. Oh, Trump's gonna say that. Literally, he could say that positive or negative spin on that. He could say that. Yes, of course, Focus One. That's Bitcoin Chan, our favorite mascot, Bitcoin Chan. And I really do. I agree with you there that they gave her the questions. I really do think so. Hoax. I'm sure Trump. That's 50-50 on Trump. I think saying hoax. We're at a crossroads. I don't know. I don't know if anyone's gonna say that tonight either. I wish I could just make up my own. I guess I could just make up my own. But I like the little stamps they give us on these. Those are fun too. The middle class, I'm sure someone's going to say that. We don't have a middle class anymore. What do we call them here on the stream? We call them upper poor. That's what I call them. So we're going to have anyone reference upper poor tonight? I think so. I think they're going to talk about the middle class tonight. Constitution being referenced, I think that's going to happen. I don't get this Hannibal Lecter thing, though. That's the only thing I really don't. I'm going to say we should probably change that Hannibal Lecter to The Wall or something. The Wall. Obviously, he rehearsed Zinger. That's going to be Kamala for sure, as you've already pointed out, Focused. The economy, that's a takeaway. Cradle of Liberty. Why would anyone even say that? Candidates' cognitive ability. That's definitely going to happen at some point for one of the two. The upper class. Candidate laughs. That's probably going to be awkward pause before a break. That will probably be our winner right there. If I were to guess. Mispronounced country. That's going to be fun. This is going to be fun. I can't wait to see how this plays out. The last debate was a bit disappointing, but still kind of surprising how it all ended up with Biden, right? Not quite being there. It looks like Nikki says she's looking for her in speaking moment. That's why she is so mad that the mics will be muted. They will be muted. Oh wow, really, Nikki? That's interesting because I thought. I don't know if you can hear me, but I thought she said that ABC. She wanted ABC to keep the mics on. That's what I heard. Right? Is that what you guys heard? The mic's on. I think you can hear me. Yeah, ABC told her to kick rocks apparently, so she's still gonna have the mics off. Okay, I mean that works okay in both their favors. It doesn't really hurt anyone. I think Trump is gonna be tame as he was back in the previous debate. He doesn't have to do anything. Basically, let them just crash and burn on their own. That's what we're expecting tonight anyway. That's what I'm expecting. It's just going to be Trump sitting there like, okay, what are you going to say? I remember that quote he said on the golf course? What did he say when Biden dropped out? Oh, yeah, he's gonna drop out, I hear. Yeah, he's going to leave. And then he said, oh, she's bad. Oh, she's so effing bad. She's easier. She's going to be easier. That's what she said. That's what he said. Yep. Nonsensical laughing is what I'm... Yep. We do have that on our... we do have a laughing awkward laugh. No. Oh, yeah, there it is. Candidate laughs right there. That one's going to be a dead giveaway, right? We might as well already mark it before it starts. Yeah, I really do think that's probably going to be the winner as long as we can get an awkward pause before a break. That's going to be the hardest one to get in that row. Looks like Nikki's trying to talk, and apparently we can't hear him. All right. Hey, Nikki, you there?
Yeah, what's up?
Little Nicky.
Yo, Ultra, turn me up.
I can hear you, but I don't think the stream can.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I think the stream can. Apparently, I can't.
You gotta turn me up, bro. Can you barely hear me? Hello?
I might have to roll out one of my other headsets to get all this stuff working. Crazy. You there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, I can't hear you. You know what? I probably have to... Yeah, I know what to do. I'm going to have to... Are you talking?
Yeah,
testing,
what's up?
testing. Okay, yeah, I see you. It's probably too loud now. Let's see if we can adjust these. Oh, I should be able to monitor your output. That's probably the problem. Yeah, monitor. Yeah, there we go. So I can probably hear you now.
Yo.
Oh, there you are. How's it going, man? My boy, my Merc, little Nicky.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going, man? You're on YouTube right now.
Yo, what up,
on our
man?
stream. How's it going? We're waiting for this thing to roll out, man. It's gonna be entertaining. As of course we're waiting to see the crypto aftermath of this, of course. But it's gonna be fun to see how Trump just buries Kamala in a whole bunch of words. I don't think she can talk. Her interviews have been kind of really piss poor, right?
Yeah,
really
she's only had one.
Yeah, she's only had that one, right? The one where she was like, well, they also had her on stage talking about, I don't know if you heard that, about how she convinced her team or the White House or whatever, the board meeting she was in, to use black plastic straws and plastic lids so her lipstick doesn't stick on the white lids or the white straws. And I'm just like, oh boy, that's definitely a her problem.
I hear Willie Brown still's got some lipstick stuck on him.
Oh my god. Oh my god. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I can't wait.
Yeah, I remember that we watched the last one, so
yeah,
I'll see if you're on.
Yes, I'm glad you stopped by. Simon and Buck might be dropping in too. They said they're gonna be in, but we're not quite at 9 o'clock yet, so we'll see. We're gonna get a whole bunch of people. I want to get focused on here, man. Him and I have been talking about crypto now for like a better part of this year. He's been one of my most loyal followers on YouTube. It's been a wild ride this year. YouTube, bro. What's that?
I said I didn't even know you had a YouTube.
What? Well, how'd you not know? I thought I shared all this stuff at the beginning of the year to everyone.
I don't know. Probably.
At some point, I'm gonna get the whole Discord like revamped into this. Probably by the end of the year, beginning of next year. Be my guess. But yeah, it's still kind of building out the community. Been strong though, man. We're up to 124 followers, or 125, 126 followers here on YouTube. Guys, like, subscribe, do all the things. I appreciate it. It's awesome. Yeah, and of course, just a little slice of chaos here in the crypto space on YouTube. I got it's nuts, man. It's been crazy. Bitcoin's sitting at 57.5, coming down about $100 right before the big debate. Is it really even a big debate? I don't think it's gonna be that big. I mean, to me, it just seems like a nothing burger. Like, we're gonna get Trump either way. This is all just publicity stunt. But did you hear about the sentencing? Sentencing for Trump is now moved back into until November, after November, the election, 26th, I think. After the day after Thanksgiving. Isn't that crazy? Oh, I don't know if Thanksgiving's on the 25th this year. It's always a Thursday, right? It's such a weird holiday. But yeah, that's kind of the sentiment right now is Trump is basically going to play through, either going to get elected, pardon himself, the whole 9 yards. The thing I'm more excited for is I was actually hoping to see if we get Robert F. Kennedy mentioned. You know what? Would it be a big zinger if they would like throw him up there and say, okay, he's going to debate for me since you guys wouldn't let him play. I would die. I would die. But of course, they can't legally do that, I don't think, in the current debates, because he's not the one on the ballot.
What do you think about Hunter Biden pleading guilty for all the gun charges shit?
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Oh, no, the tax stuff.
Yeah, it is what it is. And to me, that stuff's all kind of like background noise. The whole Biden, anything related to Biden now is just all back. It's all old news, man. Old news. We're over that era. Whose family, everything. It's kind of unrelated now.
Yeah, he's gonna get pardoned anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the rich are always gonna stay out of that negative light. The red light doesn't touch those types of people. That's why we got to keep trying to get as close as we can to the 1% ourselves here in the crypto space, guys. Bitcoin sitting, a reminder, your daily reminder. I'm gonna go into this while we're waiting. A daily reminder: Bitcoin sitting at a fire sale. One of our favorite charts, of course, is the rainbow chart here. The rainbow chart still at a fire sale. We burned a penny tonight. We burned another penny tonight, okay? Still sitting at a fire sale. And if we get a bingo tonight, we're gonna burn another penny. Because why the hell not? Still sitting at the Bitcoin fire sale. Best time to accumulate all your crypto assets are in the fire sale. We are probably gonna be in here for maybe another day or two, if that. It is gonna be intense times ahead for the crypto space. Volatility is gonna go off the rails into 2025, yeah, we're going to go right into the sunset in the winter. Into the sunset. But yeah, this is our bingo card tonight, Merc. I don't know if you've seen this one. Little Nicky. The upper class, the Constitution, Barack Obama. Someone's saying Putin. Someone's going to say Putin. Brat, what is that referring to? You remember either of them bringing up that terminology? I'm surprised we don't have Project 2025 on this one.
Project 2025 is definitely coming up.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely coming up. Maybe we should refresh this one. I don't know. This one's probably a solid win as long as they get an awkward pause at some point.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
You think so? Childless cat ladies. What was that referring to? Do you know that one?
Yeah, that's J.D. Vance talking about how, the birth rate being down in his book and everything.
What? I don't think I've heard that one.
Yeah,
I remember the whole veteran thing with was it Walls? They didn't really serve proper term or whatever.
No, he served in Europe. Like, he was stationed over there. He never did time in Afghanistan or anything.
Oh.
But he said he did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they were actually losing it on the J.D. Vance childless cat lady thing.
Oh wait, really? So I don't know what that is even referring to. Like, what did he say in terms of? He's just calling like poor people in California childless, or the birth rate. Like, what does that have to do with the birth rate?
Talking about like how like the Democrats are pushing for like independent woman and career over family and all this stuff, and then at the end of the day these girls are 30, 35, 40, no kids or anything like that. They just have a couple cats and then they're not happy.
You're kind of describing me, although I have a dog. Oh my God. One of these days, though, I mean, once I break out of this box, I'm going to go to...
Hey,
yep.
Our stuff doesn't dry up, so we don't have to worry about age as much.
Yeah, we still have until, I mean, God, one of my friends, if he joins us tonight, Simon, he was born, his father unfortunately just passed away. Thoughts out and prayers to him. I loved his father. His dad was awesome. I used to call him George Washington because he always had curly white hair. Yeah, dude, he was in his 90s when he passed, and he's my age. He had him. Damn, he must have had him in his late 60s. Yeah, it's nuts. It's crazy. So yeah, that definitely proves we definitely got the capabilities. We just got to find the right eggs to lay them in. Full send it. Full send the baby batter, and we'll make our own later. God. But yeah, I'm hoping to break out of this box. Focus and I have actually been talking about going and branching out to other countries and starting a new life outside of the United States. And for him, I believe up north as well. But yeah.
My buddy just flew in from Thailand. He lives out there, and he loves it. He teaches English out there.
That's one of our places we talk about. We talk about really Thailand.
Good money. Doesn't have any like teaching degrees or anything like that. All they care about is you know how to speak English, and they pay you like real good money. He bought a house out there, all that stuff.
You don't have to have a degree or anything?
No, I think it's just
wow.
Speak the language pretty much.
I mean, I would definitely, no matter where I end up, I'm going to learn some of the language. That's just how I am. I adapt pretty easily.
I'm like 90% sure he doesn't have any degrees in anything.
Yeah, that sounds about right. But yeah, we were looking at Thailand. We were looking at Vietnam. We were looking at, what was that other little Asian country out there? Not Venezuela. That's another one too. It just depends on where you go. I don't know.
Singapore's not bad.
Singapore is not bad at all, but it's up there. It's pricey. But yeah, it's definitely actually one of the ones that we talk about here in our space as well. Because Singapore is also looking at being one of the crypto capitals of the world. And yes, as Focus mentioned, it's expensive as hell. Exactly. It's one of the largest cities in China, not mainland China, but outside. Yeah, just remember, mainland China, I don't think, I mean, it's probably cheap, but I wouldn't want to live there because of all the crazy, communist rules. You want to get stuck in a special kind of hell. Yeah, I think you still go to jail for a long time if you spit out a piece of gum in the street. So top English school want degrees, but other than schools are with just native English speakers. That's all they're really after is native English speakers. Huh.
Yeah, and they pay real good money over there too.
Are you sure though? I mean, I was doing the conversion one day, and like my job in India would only pay about $3,000 a year, and I'm like, most countries I did the conversion on, it's like maybe like $10,000 a year or $20,000 a year, but like your salary is definitely cut in half or more in other countries.
Yeah, I mean, but the cost of living's way down too.
You pay me in crypto, I'll go anywhere. What's that?
I don't know what they pay him in, but he's got like 50 grand in the bank, and he bought a house too out there, and that's all. He didn't have savings before he went over there.
The Focus one says that they pay okay, probably $1,500 USD a month, which is that's not bad at all. I mean, for their country, it's not bad. That's, I mean, if you live within your means, that's definitely not bad at all. Because you over there, you can live in a like a hotel for about $20 to $30, $40 if you want to live a little higher per day.
Yeah, he was telling me to come visit him, and he's like bring $500, you won't be able to spend it.
Oh, and then Focus One says, "Don't go to those countries to work. Just trade and make YouTube videos." yeah. I definitely, if I lose my job, that's all I'll be doing all day is just trading. I mean, look at this crazy shit I predicted. I can't believe this. And I don't even do anything with the key indicators. I'm not playing with the 200 SMA. Well, it's not a bad indicator. It's just I just look at sentiment, man, and the news. That's it. And keep time frames. That's it. Rent is $300 for a nice. What's that say? I don't know why they block this stuff on. Can you see this on my screen, Nikki?
No, I can't.
Oh no, yeah, you can't see it. For a nice 2-bedroom. There you go. He pushed it through. There you go. Yep. Yeah. OBS Studios. If the chat's not moving fast enough, I can't read like the bottom right corner of this. It's so annoying. So annoying. Thanks, Focused. He gets it.
I'm just happy I'm exempt from war if Kamala gets it.
Oh yeah, we're done, right? We're done.
Yeah,
it looks like they just started. Guys, they just started. They just got off there.
Institutions and insane asylums, and they're coming in and they're taking
Oh my God!
jobs that are occupied right now by African Americans and Hispanics, and also unions. Unions are going to be affected very soon.
She's already
and
shaking her head.
You see what's happening with towns throughout the United States. You look at Springfield, Ohio. You look at Aurora in Colorado. They are taking over the towns. They're taking over buildings. They're going in violently. These are the people that she and Biden led into our country, and they're destroying our country. They're dangerous. They're at the highest level of criminality, and we have to get them out. We have to get them out fast. I created one of the greatest economies in the history of our country.
Nice. Thanks, Focus.
I'll do it again and even better.
We are going to get to immigration and border security during this debate, but I would like to let Vice President Harris respond on the economy here.
Well, I would love to. Let's talk about what Donald Trump left us. Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression.
Oh my God.
Donald Trump left us the worst
Your
public
audio's
health
messing up, bro.
epidemic in a century. Donald Trump left us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. And what we have done is clean up Donald Trump's mess. What we have done and what I intend to do is build on what we know are the aspirations and the hopes of the American people. But I'm going to tell you all in this debate tonight, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook, a bunch of lies, grievances, and name-calling. What you're going to hear tonight is a detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2020.
Oh, there it is.
Yep.
Of bringing us together, knowing we have so much more in common than what separates us, and I pledge to you to be a president for all Americans.
President Trump will give you a minute here to respond.
Number one, I have nothing to do, as you know, and as she knows better than anyone, I have nothing to do with Project 2025. That's out there.
Is it echoing for
I
you,
haven't read
Focus?
it. I don't want to read it purposely.
Probably
I'm
just
not
me.
going to read it. This was a group of people that got together. They came up with some ideas. I guess some good, some bad.
Good.
But it makes no difference. I have nothing to do. Everybody knows I'm an open book. Everybody knows what I'm going to do. Cut taxes very substantially and create a great economy like I did before. We had the greatest economy. We got hit with a pandemic.
Like
And
the
pandemic
seen before.
was
There we go. We
not
got one.
Since 1917, where 100 million people died, has there been anything like it? We did a phenomenal job with the pandemic. We handed them over a country where the economy and where the stock market was higher than it was before the pandemic came in. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We made ventilators for the entire world. We got gowns, we got masks, we did things that nobody thought possible. And people give me credit for rebuilding the military. They give me credit for a lot of things, but not enough credit for the great job we did with the pandemic. But the only jobs they got were bounce back jobs. These were jobs bounce back, and it bounced back and it went to their benefit. But I was the one that created them. They know it, and so does everybody else.
Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond.
So Donald Trump has no plan for you. And when you look at his economic plan, it's all about tax breaks for the richest people. I am offering what I describe as an opportunity economy, and the best economists in our country, if not the world, have reviewed our relative plans for the future of America. What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse. Mine would strengthen the economy. What the Wharton School has said is Donald Trump's plan would actually explode the deficit. 16 Nobel laureates have described his economic plan as something that would increase inflation and by the middle of next year would invite a recession. You just have to look at where we are and where we stand on the issues. And I'd invite you to know that Donald Trump actually has no plan for you because he is more interested in defending himself than he is in looking out for you.
That's just a soundbite. They gave her that to say. Look, I went to the Wharton School of Finance, and many of those professors, the top professors, think my plan is a brilliant plan. It's a great plan. It's a plan that's going to bring up our worth, our value as a country. Solid money for our country. And just to finish off, she doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run. 4 sentences that are just, oh, we'll try and lower taxes. She doesn't have a plan. Take a look at her plan. She doesn't have a plan.
Mr. President, I do want to drill down on something you both brought up. The Vice President brought up your tariffs. You responded, and let's drill down on this because your plan is what she calls is essentially a national sales tax. Your proposal calls for tariffs, as you pointed out here, on foreign imports across the board. You recently said that you might double your plan, imposing tariffs up to 20% on goods coming into this country. As you know, many economists say that with tariffs at that level, costs are then passed on to the consumer. Vice President Harris has argued it'll mean higher prices on gas, food, clothing, medication, arguing it costs the typical family nearly $4,000 a year. Do you believe Americans can afford higher prices because of tariffs?
They're not going to have higher prices. What's going to have and who's going to have higher prices is China and all of the countries that have been ripping us off for years. I was the only president ever. China was paying us hundreds of billions of dollars, and so were other countries. And, you know, if she doesn't like them, they should have gone out and they should have immediately cut the tariffs. But those tariffs are there 3.5 years now under their administration. We are going to take in billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. I had no inflation, virtually no inflation. They had the highest inflation perhaps in the history of our country because I've never seen a worse period of time. People can't go out and buy cereal or bacon or eggs or anything else.
There we go.
The people of our country are absolutely dying with what they've done. They've destroyed the economy. And all you have to do is look at a poll. The polls say 80 and 85 and even 90% that the Trump economy was great, that their economy was terrible.
Vice President Harris, I do want to ask for your response, and you heard what the president said there, because the Biden administration did keep a number of the Trump tariffs in place. So how do you respond?
Well, let's be clear that the Trump administration resulted in a trade deficit, one of the highest we've ever seen in the history of America. He invited trade wars. You want to talk about his deal with China? What he ended up doing is under Donald Trump's presidency, he ended up selling American chips to China to help them improve and modernize their military, basically sold us out, when a policy about China should be in making sure the United States of America wins the competition for the 21st century, which means focusing on the details of what that requires, focusing on relationships with our allies, focusing on investing in American-based technology so that we win the race on AI, on quantum computing, focusing on what we need to do to support America's workforce so that we don't end up having on the short end of the stick in terms of workers' rights. But what Donald Trump did, let's talk about this, with COVID, is he actually thanked President Xi for what he did during COVID. Look at his tweet. Thank you, President Xi, exclamation point, when we know that Xi was responsible for lacking and not giving us transparency about the origins of COVID.
President Trump, I'll let you respond.
First of all, they bought their chips from Taiwan. We hardly make chips anymore because of philosophies like they have and policies like they have. I don't say her because she has no policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's going to my philosophy. But if she ever got elected, she'd change it. And it will be the end of our country. She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics.
Does that count as a laugh?
And he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million people, not the 15 that people say, and I think it's a lot higher than the 21. Sure. That's bigger than New York State pouring in. And just look at what they're doing to our country. They're criminals. Many of these people coming in are criminals. And that's bad for our economy, too. You know, you mentioned before, we'll talk about immigration later. Well, bad immigration is the worst thing that can happen to our economy. They have, and she has, destroyed our country with policy that's insane. Almost policy that you'd say they have to hate our country.
President Trump, thank you. Lindsay?
I want to turn to the issue of abortion. President Trump, you often touted that you were able to kill Roe v. Wade. Last year, you said that you were proud to be the most pro-life president in American history. Then last month, you said that your administration would be great for women and their reproductive rights. In your home state of Florida, you surprised many with regard to your 6-week abortion ban, because you initially had said that it was too short. And you said, quote, I'm going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks. But then the very next day, you reversed course and said you would vote to support the 6-week ban. Vice President Harris says that women shouldn't trust you on the issue of abortion because you've changed your position so many times. Therefore, why should they trust you?
Well, the reason I'm doing that vote is because the plan is, as you know, the vote is, they have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, who's doing an excellent job, but the governor before. He said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby. And that's why I did that, because that predominates, because they're radical. The Democrats are radical in that. And her vice presidential pick, which I think was a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it.
Getting close to our
vice
bingo,
presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's an execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is okay. And that's not okay with me, hence the vote. But what I did is something for 52 years. They've been trying to get Roe v. Wade into the states. And through the genius and heart and strength of 6 Supreme Court justices, we were able to do that. Now, I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also. 85% of Republicans do. Exceptions. Very important. But we were able to get it, and now states are voting on it. And for the first time, you're going to see, look, this is an issue that's torn our country apart for 52 years. Every legal scholar, every Democrat, every Republican, liberal, conservative, they all wanted this issue to be brought back to the states where the people could vote. And that's what happened. And now, Ohio, the vote was somewhat liberal. Kansas, the vote was somewhat liberal, much more liberal than people would have thought. But each individual state is voting. It's the vote of the people now. It's not tied to the federal government. I did a great service in doing it. It took courage to do it. And the Supreme Court had great courage in doing it. And I give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. Madam Vice President, I want to get your response to President Trump.
Well, as I said, you're going to hear a bunch of lies, and that's not actually a surprising fact. Let's understand how we got here. Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did exactly as he intended. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans, which make it criminal for a doctor or nurse to provide health care. In one state, it provides prison for life. Trump abortion bans that make no exception even for rape and incest, which understand what that means. A survivor of a crime of violation to their body does not have the right to make a decision about what happens to their body next. That is immoral. And one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government, and Donald Trump certainly, should not be telling a woman what to do with her body. I have talked with women around our country. You want to talk about this is what people wanted? Pregnant women who want to carry a pregnancy to term, suffering from a miscarriage, being denied care in an emergency room because the healthcare providers are afraid they might go to jail, and she's bleeding out in a car in the parking lot. She didn't want that. Her husband didn't want that. A 12 or 13-year-old survivor of incest being forced to carry a pregnancy to term. They don't want that. And I pledge to you, when Congress passes a bill to put back in place the protections of Roe v. Wade, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law. But understand, if Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban. Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor that would be monitoring your pregnancies, your miscarriages. I think the American people believe that certain freedoms, in particular the freedom to make decisions about one's own body, should not be made by the government.
Thank you, Vice President Harris.
Well, there she goes again. It's a lie. I'm not signing a ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban, because we've gotten what everybody wanted. Democrats, Republicans, and everybody else, and every legal scholar wanted it to be brought back into the states. And the states are voting, and it may take a little time, but for 52 years, this issue has torn our country apart, and they've wanted it back in the states. And I did something that nobody thought was possible. The states are now voting. What she says is an absolute lie. And as far as the abortion ban, no, I'm not in favor of abortion ban, but it doesn't matter, because this issue has now been taken over by the states.
Would you veto a national abortion ban if it came to your desk?
Well, I won't have to, because, again, two things. Number one, she said she'll go back to Congress. She'll never get the vote. It's impossible for her to get the vote, especially now with the 50-50, essentially 50-50 in both Senate and the House. She's not going to get the vote. She can't get the vote. She won't even come close to it. So it's just talk. You know what it reminds me of? When they said they're going to get student loans terminated, and it ended up being a total catastrophe. Student loans. And then I think probably her boss, if you call him a boss, he spends all his time on the beach. But look, her boss went out and said, we'll do it again. We'll do it a different way. And he went out, got rejected again by the Supreme Court. So all these students got taunted with this whole thing about this whole idea. And how unfair that would have been, part of the reason they lost, to the millions and millions of people that had to pay off their student loans. They didn't get it for free. But they were saying it's the same way that they talked about that they talk about abortion.
But if I could just get a yes or no, because your running mate, J.D. Vance, has said that you would veto if it did come to your desk.
Well, I didn't discuss it with J.D. in all fairness. J.D., and I don't mind if he has a certain view, but I think he was speaking for me, but I really didn't. Look, we don't have to discuss it, because she'd never be able to get it, just like she couldn't get student loans. They couldn't get student loans. They didn't even come close to getting student loans. They taunted young people and a lot of other people that had loans. They can never get this approved. So it doesn't matter what she says about going to Congress. Well, wonderful. Let's go to Congress. Do it. But the fact is that for years they wanted to get it out of Congress and out of the federal government. And we did something that everybody said couldn't be done. And now you have a vote of the people on abortion.
Vice President Harris, I want to give you your time to respond. But I do want to ask, would you support any restrictions on a woman's right to an abortion?
I absolutely support reinstating the protections of Roe v. Wade. And as you rightly mentioned, nowhere in America is a woman carrying a pregnancy to term and asking for an abortion. That is not happening. It's insulting to the women of America. And understand what has been happening under Donald Trump's abortion bans. Couples who pray and dream of having a family are being denied IVF treatments. What is happening in our country? Working people, working women who are working 1 or 2 jobs, who can barely afford childcare as it is, have to travel to another state to get on a plane sitting next to strangers to go and get the health care she needs. Barely can afford to do it, and what you are putting her through is unconscionable. And the people of America have not, the majority of Americans believe in a woman's right to make decisions about her own body. And that is why in every state where this issue has been on the ballot, in red and blue states both, the people of America have voted for freedom.
Vice President Harris,
Excuse me, I
thank
have
you.
to respond.
They've already-
Another lie.
They've
It's another
already
lie.
supported
I have been a
IVF.
leader on IVF,
Yeah.
which is fertilization. The IVF, I have been a leader. In fact, when they got a very negative decision on IVF from the Alabama courts, I saw the people of Alabama and the legislature 2 days later voted it in. I've been a leader on it. They
They've
know
been
that,
checking all
and
the
everybody
boxes
else
the whole
knows it.
time.
I have been a
He's already
leader
relied
on
on that.
fertilization, IVF. And the other thing, you should ask, will she allow abortion in the 8th month, 9th month, 7th month? Okay, would you do that? Why don't you ask her that question?
Why don't you answer
That's
the
problem.
question? Would you
Because
veto?
under Roe
Talk
v.
about
Wade,
cheeseburgers.
you could do abortions in the 7th month,
Coffee.
the 8th month, the 9th
That's
month,
not true.
and
Bitcoin.
probably after birth. Just look at the governor, former governor of Virginia. The governor of
getting a
Virginia
a
said
crypto
we put the
question for
baby
sure.
aside and then we determine what we want to do with the baby.
President Trump, thank you.
We're going to turn now to immigration and border security. We know it's an issue that's important to Republicans,
Jesus,
Democrats,
that's
voters
the
across the
borders
board
are.
in this country. Vice President Harris, you were tasked by President Biden with getting to the root causes of migration from Central America. We know that illegal border crossings reached a record high in the Biden administration.
Yeah.
This past June, President Biden imposed tough new asylum restrictions. We know the numbers since then have dropped significantly. But my question to you tonight is, why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. And let me say that the United States Congress, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came up with a border security bill which I supported. And that bill would have put 1,500 more border agents on the border to help those folks who are working there right now overtime trying to do their job. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States. I know there are so many families watching tonight who have been personally affected by the surge of fentanyl in our country. That bill would have put more resources to allow us to prosecute transnational criminal organizations for trafficking in guns, drugs, and human beings. But you know what happened to that bill? Donald Trump got on the phone, called up some folks in Congress and said, kill the bill. And you know why? Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And understand, this comes at a time where the people of our country actually need a leader who engages in solutions, who actually addresses the problems at hand. But what we have in the former president is someone who would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And I'll tell you something, he's going to talk about immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies,
there we go.
because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills.
She
said Hannibal Lecter.
And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom.
I don't think so.
And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires.
How about your rallies?
And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first, and I pledge to you that I will.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, on that point, I want to get your response.
Well, I would like to respond.
Let me just ask, though, why did you try to kill that bill, and successfully so? That would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border.
Let me respond to the rallies. She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's busing them in and paying them to be there, and then showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies.
no.
We have the biggest
You're taking a
rallies, the
little bit
most
of a hold there,
incredible
Trump.
rallies in the history of politics. That's because people want to take their
His
country
ego.
back. Our
She got him
country
at
is
ego.
being lost. We're a
little bit
failing
there.
nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago. And what's going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject. What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield.
eating the
A lot of
dog.
towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, They're eating the dogs, the people that came
Yeah,
in.
I mean,
They're
we just
eating
looked
the
at that.
cats.
We
They're
just looked
eating-
at it.
They're
We just saw
eating
it, the cat
pets
raccoons and
of
stuff.
The people that live there.
Oh my
and
God.
this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame. As far as
Very
rallies are
situational,
concerned,
buddy.
as
You
far
used
as
it.
the reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase: make America great again. She's destroying this country,
I like
and if
that,
she
make
becomes
America healthy
president,
again.
this
Robert
country
Kennedy.
doesn't have a chance of success. Not only success, we'll end up being Venezuela on steroids.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well,
All
I've
this,
seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is the
people
Have
on
a good one,
television
Focus.
say my dog
I'll
was
catch you
taken
later.
and used
Gotta
for
get you
food.
on the live as well,
maybe
man.
he said that, and maybe that's
Always a good
thing
time.
to
I
say
appreciate
for a
it,
city
man.
manager.
Thanks.
I'm not taking this from
But
television.
the people are
I'm
on
taking it from
television
the city
saying their
manager.
dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Oh my
Again, the
God.
Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond to the rest of what you've
Oh
heard.
my God.
You talk about extreme.
Oh, she laughed. Oh no.
You know, this is, I
That's
think,
not
one of
good.
the reasons why in this election I actually have the endorsement of 200 Republicans who have formerly worked with President Bush, Mitt Romney, and John McCain, including the endorsement of former Vice President Dick Cheney and Congress member Liz Cheney. And if you want to really know the inside track on who the former president is, if he didn't make it clear already, just ask people who have worked with him. His former chief of staff, a 4-star general, has said he has contempt for the Constitution of the
Trump
United
rant,
States.
Bitcoin went down $100,
His
guys.
former
Oh,
national
no.
security
End of
advisor
days.
has said he is
End of
dangerous
days.
and unfit. His former Secretary of Defense has said the nation, the Republic, would never survive another Trump term. And when we listen to this kind of rhetoric, when the issues that affect the American people are not being addressed, I think the choice is clear in this election.
President Trump, I'll give you a quick minute to respond here.
Thank you, because when I hear that, see, I'm a different kind of a person. I fired most of those people. Not so graciously. They did bad things or a bad job. I fired them. They never fired one person. They didn't fire anybody having to do with Afghanistan and the Taliban and the 13 people who's were just killed, viciously and violently killed. And I got to know the parents and the family. They didn't fire. They should have fired all those generals, all those top people, because that was one of the most incompetently handled situations anybody has ever seen. So when somebody does a bad job, I fire him. And you take a guy like Esper. He was no good. I fired him. So he writes a book. Another one writes a book. Because with me, they can write books. With nobody else can they. But they have done such a poor job, and they never fire anybody. Look at the economy. Look at the inflation. They didn't fire any of their economists. They have the same people. That's a good way not to have books written about you. But just to finish, I got more votes than any Republican in history by far. In fact, I got more votes than any president, sitting president in history by far.
Let me continue on immigration. It was what you wanted to talk about earlier, so let's get back to your deportation
We're down $300
proposal
now.
that the vice president has
Trump,
reacted
what are you
to as
doing?
well. President Trump, you call this the largest domestic deportation operation in the history of our country. You say you would use the National Guard. You say if things get out of control, you'd have no problem using the U.S.
With local
military.
police, yes.
You also said you would use local police. How would you deport 11 million undocumented immigrants? I know you believe that number is much higher. Take us through this. What does this look like? Will authorities be going door to door in this country?
Yeah, it is much higher because of
Did
them.
you say yeah?
They allowed criminals, many millions of criminals. They allowed terrorists. They allowed common street criminals. They allowed people to come in, drug dealers, to come into our country, and they're now in the United States
like when he rants
and
about
told
this. It's
by their
never
countries,
ends well.
like Venezuela, don't ever come back or we're going to kill you. Do you know that crime in Venezuela and crime in countries
just
all
get
over
hit
the
by a
world
lot of that, though.
is way down? You know why? Because they've taken their criminals off the street and they've given them to her to put into our country. And this will be one of the greatest mistakes in history for them to allow. And I think they probably did it because they think they're going to get votes, but it's not worth it because they're destroying the fabric of our country by what they've done. There's never been anything done like this at all. They've destroyed the fabric of our country. Millions of people let in. And all over the world, crime is down. All over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof. Despite their fraudulent statements that they made, crime in this country is through the roof. And we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. And it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But Vice
Excuse me,
President
the
Harris,
FBI they were defrauding statements. They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a fraud, just like their number of 818,000 jobs that they said they created turned out to be a fraud.
President Trump, thank you. I'll let you respond, Vice President Harris.
Well, I think this is so rich, coming from someone who has been prosecuted.
Oh, here it is.
For
we're waiting for that.
National security crimes, economic crimes, election interference.
Oh, that was
has
definitely
been found
rehearsed.
liable
That was
for
definitely
sexual assault, and his next big court appearance is in November at his own criminal sentencing. And let's be clear where each person stands on the issue of what is important about respect for the rule of law and respect for law enforcement. The former vice president called for defunding federal law enforcement, 45,000 agents, get this, on the day after he was arraigned on 34 felony counts. So let's talk about what is important in this race. It is important that we move forward, that we turn the page on this same old tired rhetoric and address the needs of the American people, address what we need to do about the housing shortage, which I have a plan for, address what we must do to support our small businesses, address bringing down the price of groceries. But frankly, the American people are exhausted with this same old tired playbook.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
Excuse me. Every one of those cases was started by them against their political opponent. And I'm winning most of them, and I will win the rest on appeal. And you saw that with the decision that came down just recently from the Supreme Court. I'm winning most of them. But those are cases, it's called weaponization. Never happened in this country. They weaponized the Justice Department. Every one of those cases was involved with the DOJ, from Atlanta and Fani Willis to the Attorney General of New York and the DA in New York. Every one of those cases. And then they say, oh, he's a criminal. They're the ones that made them go after me. By the way, Joe Biden was found essentially guilty on the documents case. And what happened in my documents case? They said, oh, that's the toughest of them all. A complete and total victory. 2 months ago, it was thrown out. It's weaponization, and they used it, and it's never happened in this country. They used it to try and win an election. They're fake cases.
President Trump, thank you. A really quick response here, Vice President Harris, on this notion of weaponization of the Justice Department.
Well, let's talk about extreme and understand the context in which this election in 2024 is taking place. The United States Supreme Court recently ruled that the former president would essentially be immune from any misconduct if he were to enter the White House again. Understand, this is someone who has openly said he would terminate, I'm quoting, terminate the Constitution of the United States, that he would weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies. Someone who has openly expressed disdain for members of our military. Understand what it would mean if Donald Trump were back in the White House with no guardrails, because certainly we know now the court won't stop him. We know J.D. Vance is not going to stop him. It's up to the American people
Vice President
to stop
Harris,
him.
Thank you. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president.
Weaponized, please.
We
This is the one that weaponized, not me. She weaponized. I probably took a bullet to the head because of the things that they say about me. They talk about democracy. I'm a threat to democracy. They're the threat to democracy with a fake Russia investigation.
Oh,
We do have a lot
he
to
said
get
Russia. That's
We have a
not
lot
on
to
our
get to.
bingo
Lindsay?
card, though.
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president, you said you wanted to ban fracking. Now you don't. You wanted mandatory government buyback programs for assault weapons. Now your campaign says you don't. You supported decriminalizing border crossings. Now you're taking a harder line. I know you say that your values have not changed. So then why have so many of your policy positions changed?
So my values have not changed, and I'm going to discuss every one of the, at least every point that you've made. But in particular, let's talk about fracking, because we're here in Pennsylvania. I made that very clear in 2020. I will not ban fracking. I have not banned fracking as Vice President of the United States, and in fact, I was the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which opened new leases for fracking. My position is that we have got to invest in diverse sources of energy so we reduce our reliance on foreign oil. We have had the largest increase in domestic oil production in history because of an approach that recognizes that we cannot over-rely on foreign oil. As it relates to my values, let me tell you, I grew up a middle-class kid raised by a hardworking mother who worked and saved and was able to buy our first home when I was a teenager. The values I bring to the importance of home ownership, knowing not everybody got handed $400 million on a silver platter and then filed bankruptcy 6 times, is a value that I bring to my work, to say we are going to work with the private sector and home builders to increase 3 million homes, increase by 3 million homes by the end of my first term. My work that is related to having a friend when I was in high school who was sexually assaulted by her stepfather. And my focus then on protecting women and children from violent crime is based on a value that is deeply grounded in the importance of standing up for those who are most vulnerable. My work that is about protecting Social Security and Medicare is based on long-standing work that I have done, protecting seniors from scams. My values have not changed. And what is important is that there is a president who actually brings values and a perspective that is about lifting people up and not beating people down and name-calling. The true measure of the leader is the leader who actually understands the strength is not in beating people down, it's in lifting people up. I intend to be that president.
President Trump, your response?
First of all, I wasn't given $400 million. I wish I was. My father was a Brooklyn builder, Brooklyn, Queens, and a great father, and I learned a lot from him. But I was given a fraction of that, a tiny fraction, and I built it into many, many billions of dollars, many, many billions. And when people see it, they are even surprised. So we don't have to talk about that. Fracking, she's been against it for 12 years. Defund the police, she's been against that forever. She gave all that stuff up very wrongly, very horribly, and everybody's laughing at it, okay? They're all laughing at it. She gave up at least 12 and probably 14 or 15 different policies. Like, she was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out, wait a minute, I'm talking now.
He said, I'm speaking, basically.
She went out.
Getting really close, guys.
She went out in Minnesota and wanted to let
she bailed out the rioters, too.
That burned down Minneapolis. She went out and raised money to get them out of jail. She did things that nobody would ever think of. Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens out of prison. This is a radical left liberal that would do this. She wants to confiscate your guns, and she will never allow fracking in Pennsylvania. If she won the election, fracking in Pennsylvania will end on day one. Just to finish one thing that's so important in my opinion. So I got the oil business going like nobody has ever done before. When they took over, they got rid of it, started getting rid of it, and the prices were going up the roof. They immediately let these guys go to where they were. I would have been 5 times, 4 times, 5 times higher, because you're talking about 3.5 years ago. They got it up to where I was because they had no choice, because the prices of energy were quadrupling and doubling. You saw what happened to gasoline. So they said, let's go back to Trump. But if she won the election, the day after that election, they'll go back to destroying our country, and oil will be dead, fossil fuel will be dead, we'll go back to windmills, and we'll go back to solar, where they need a whole desert to get some energy to come out of it. You ever see a solar plant? By the way, I'm a big fan of solar, but they take 400, 500 acres of desert soil.
Trump, we have a
These
lot
are
of
not good
issues
things
that we
for the
have to get
environment,
to.
as
We're
she
out of time.
understands.
Thank you.
Lindsay, thank you. We have an election in just 56 days. And I want to talk about the peaceful transfer of power, which, of course, we all know is a cornerstone of our democracy, and the role of a president in a moment of crisis. Mr. President, on January 6th, you told your supporters to march to the Capitol. You said you would be right there with them. The country and the world saw what played out at the Capitol that day, the officers coming under attack. Aides in the West Wing say you watched it unfold on television off the Oval Office. You did send out tweets, but it was more than 2 hours before you sent out that video message telling your supporters to go home. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day?
You just said a thing that isn't covered. Peacefully and patriotically, I said during my speech, not later on. Peacefully and patriotically. And nobody on the other side was killed. Ashley Babbitt was shot by an out-of-control police officer that should have never, ever shot her. It's a disgrace. But we didn't do this group of people that have been treated so badly. I ask, what about all the people that are pouring into our country and killing people that she allowed to pour in? She was the border czar, remember that. She was the border czar. She doesn't want to be called the border czar because she's embarrassed by the border. In fact, she said at the beginning, well, I'm surprised you're not talking about the border yet.
Oh, yeah?
That's because she knows what a bad job they've done. What about those people? When are they going to be prosecuted? When are these people from countries all over the world, not just South America? They're coming in from all over the world, David, all over the world. And crime rates are down all over the world because of it.
But let me just
when are those, David, when are those people going to be prosecuted? When are the people that burned down Minneapolis going to be prosecuted? Or in Seattle? They went into Seattle. They took over a big percentage of the city of Seattle. When are those people going to be prosecuted?
But let me just ask you.
You might ask her that question.
You were the president. You were watching it unfold on television. It's a very simple question as we move forward toward another election. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day? Yes, sir.
I had nothing to do with that other than they asked me to make a speech. I showed up for a speech. I said, I think it's going to be big. I went to Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington, D.C., and the mayor put it back in writing, as you know. I said, you know, this is going to be a very big rally or whatever you want to call it. And again, it wasn't done by me. It was done by others. I said, I'd like to give you 10,000 National Guard or soldiers. They rejected me. Nancy Pelosi rejected me. It was just 2 weeks ago. Her daughter has a tape of her saying she is fully responsible for what happened. They want to get rid of that tape. It would have never happened if Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington did their jobs. I wasn't responsible for security. Nancy Pelosi was responsible. She didn't do her job.
The question was about you as president, not about former Speaker Pelosi, but I do want Vice President Harris to respond here.
I was at the Capitol on January 6th. I was the vice president-elect. I was also an acting senator. I was there. And on that day, the President of the United States incited a violent mob to attack our nation's capital, to desecrate our nation's capital. On that day, 140 law enforcement officers were injured, and some died. And understand, the former president has been indicted and impeached for exactly that reason. But this is not an isolated situation. Let's remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate.
Let him debunk it.
And what did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side. Let's remember that when it came to the Proud Boys, a militia, the president said, the former president said, stand back and stand by. So for everyone watching who remembers what January 6th was, I say, we don't have to go back. Let's not go back. We're not going back. It's time to turn the page. And if that was a bridge too far for you, well, there is a place in our campaign for you to stand for country, to stand for our democracy, to stand for rule of law, and to end the chaos. And to end the approach that is about attacking the foundations of our democracy because you don't like the outcome. And be clear on that point. Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking. Let's turn the
He was
page on
saying
this.
this for-
Let's
yeah,
not
close
go
to me, yeah.
back.
You can tell.
Let's chart a course for the future and not go backwards to the past.
Let me just follow up here.
It was a different term, and it was a term that related to energy because they have destroyed our energy business. That was where Bloodbath was. Also, on Charlottesville, that story has been, as you would say, debunked. Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, Jesse, all of these people, they covered it. If they go an extra sentence, they will see it was perfect. It was debunked in almost every newspaper, but they still bring it up, just like they bring 2025 up. They bring all of this stuff up. I ask you this. You talk about the Capitol. Why are we allowing these millions of people to come through on the southern border? How come she's not doing anything? And I'll tell you what I would do, and I would be very proud to do it. I would say we would both leave this debate right now. I'd like to see her go down to Washington, D.C. during this debate because we're wasting a lot of time. Go down to, because she's been so bad, it's so ridiculous. Go down to Washington, D.C. and let her sign a bill to close up the border because they have the right to do it. They don't need bills. They have the right to do it. The President of the United States, you'll get him out of bed, you'll wake him up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Biden
and
was
say,
trying to do that
come on down to
before,
the office, let's sign a
this
bill.
whole thing went
If
to
he signs a bill that the border is closed, all he has to do is say it to the Border Patrol, who are phenomenal. If they do that, the border is closed. Those people are killing many people, unlike J6.
We talked immigration here tonight. I do want to focus on this next issue to both of you because it really brings us this into focus, truth in these times that we're living in. Mr. President, for 3.5 years after you lost the 2020 election, you repeatedly falsely claimed that you won, many times saying you won in a landslide. In the past couple of weeks leading up to this debate, you have said, quote, you lost
What
by
about
a whisker,
inflation, guys?
Quote,
We got
didn't
like
quite
10
make
minutes
it,
left
that you
in this
came
debate,
up a little
probably.
bit short.
I said that?
Are you now acknowledging that you lost in 2020?
No, I don't acknowledge that at all.
But
I
you
said
did
that
say that.
sarcastically.
But
You know
those-
that. It was said, oh, we lost by a whisker. That was said sarcastically. Look, there's so much proof. All you have to do is look at it. And they should have sent it back to the legislatures for approval. I got almost 75 million votes, the most votes any sitting president has ever gotten. I was told if I got 63, which was what I got in 2016, you can't be beaten. The election, people should never be thinking about it. An election is fraudulent. We need 2 things. We need walls. And we have to have it. We have to have borders. And we have to have good elections. Our elections are bad. And a lot of these illegal immigrants coming in, they're trying to get them to vote. They can't even speak English. They don't even know what country they're in practically. And these people are trying to get them to vote. And that's why they're allowing them to come into our country.
I did watch all of these pieces of video. I didn't detect the sarcasm, lost by a whisker. We didn't quite make it. And we should just point out here as clarification, and you know this, you and your allies, 60 cases in front of many judges, many of them
No
Republican.
judge looked at it.
And said
They
there was
said
no
we didn't have
widespread
standing.
fraud.
That's the other thing. They said we didn't have standing, a technicality. Can you imagine a system where a person in an election doesn't have standing? The President of the United States doesn't have standing. That's how we lost. If you look at the facts, and I'd love to have you'll do a special on it. I'll show you Georgia, and I'll show you Wisconsin, and I'll show you Pennsylvania, and I'll show you. We have so many facts and statistics, but you know what? That doesn't matter because we have to solve the problem that we have right now. That's old news. And the problem that we have right now is we have a nation in decline.
Yes!
And they have put it into decline. We have a nation that is dying, David.
Mr. President, thank you.
Let's
Vice
talk about
President
it.
Harris, you heard the president there tonight. He said he didn't say that he lost by a whisker. So he still believes he did not lose the election that was won by President Biden and yourself. But I do want to ask you about something that's come up in the last couple of days. This was a post from President Trump about this upcoming election just weeks away. He said, when I win, those people who cheated, and then he lists donors, voters, election officials, he says will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences. One of your campaign's top lawyers responded saying, we won't let Donald Trump intimidate us. We won't let him suppress the vote. Is that what you believe he's trying to do here?
Definitely a one-sided debate.
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that. But we cannot afford to have a president of the United States who attempts, as he did in the past, to upend the will of the voters in a free and fair election. And I'm going to tell you that I have traveled the world as Vice President of the United States. And world leaders are laughing at Donald Trump. I have talked with military leaders, some of whom worked with you, and they say you're a disgrace. And when you then talk in this way in a presidential debate and deny what over and over again are court cases you have lost because you did in fact lose that election, it leads one to believe that perhaps we do not have in the candidate to my right the temperament or the ability to not be confused about fact. That's deeply troubling, and the American people deserve better.
I'll give you 1 minute to respond, Mr. President.
Let me just say about world leaders. Viktor Orban, one of the most respected men, they call him a strong man. He's a tough person, smart. Prime Minister of Hungary. They said, why is the whole world blowing up? 3 years ago it wasn't. Why is it blowing up? He said, because you need Trump back as president. They were afraid of him. China was afraid, and I don't like to use the word afraid, but I'm just quoting him. China was afraid of him. North Korea was afraid of him. Look at what's going on with North Korea, by the way. He said Russia was afraid of him. I ended the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and Biden put it back on day one, but he ended the XL pipeline. The XL pipeline in our country, he ended that. But he let the Russians build a pipeline going all over Europe and heading into Germany, the biggest pipeline in the world. Look, Viktor Orban said it. He said the most respected, most feared person is Donald Trump. We had no problems when Trump was president, but when this weak, pathetic man that you saw at a debate just a few months ago, that if he weren't in that debate, he'd be running instead of her. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes, and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her. But he got 14 million votes. They threw him out. She got 0 votes. And when she ran, she was the first one to leave because she failed. And now she's running. I don't understand it, but I'm okay with it because
your time is
I think
up.
we're going to do very well.
We've got a lot more to get to.
Turning now to the Israel-Hamas war and the hostages who are still being held, Americans among them. Vice President Harris, in December, you said, quote, Israel has a right to defend itself, but you added, quote, it matters how, saying international humanitarian law must be respected. Israel must do more to protect innocent civilians. You said that 9 months ago. Now an estimated 40,000 Palestinians are dead. Nearly 100 hostages remain. Just last week, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said there's not a deal in the making. President Biden has not been able to break through the stalemate. How would you do it?
Well, let's understand how we got here. On October 7, Hamas, a terrorist organization, slaughtered 1,200 Israelis. Many of them young people who were simply attending a concert. Women were horribly raped. And so absolutely, I said then, I say now, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does so matters. Because it is also true, far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. Children, mothers. What we know is that this war must end. It must end immediately, and the way it will end is we need a ceasefire deal, and we need the hostages out.
Like a week ago?
And so we will continue to work around the clock on that. Work around the clock, also understanding that we must chart a course for a two-state solution. And in that solution, there must be security for the Israeli people and Israel, and in equal measure for the Palestinians. But the one thing I will assure you always, I will always give Israel the ability to defend itself, in particular as it relates to Iran and any threat that Iran and its proxies pose to Israel. But we must have a two-state solution where we can rebuild Gaza, where the Palestinians have security, self-determination, and the dignity they so rightly deserve.
President Trump, how would you negotiate with Netanyahu and also Hamas in order to get the hostages out and prevent the killing of more innocent civilians in Gaza?
If I were president, it would have never started. If I were president, Russia would have never, ever, I know Putin very well, he would have never, there was no threat of it either, by the way, for 4 years, have gone into Ukraine and killed millions of people when you add it up. Far worse than people understand what's going on over there.
You talk about inflation.
But when she mentions about
America,
Israel, all
problems,
of a sudden,
America.
She hates Israel. She wouldn't even meet with Netanyahu when he went to Congress to make a very important speech. She refused to be there because she was at a sorority party of hers. She wanted to go to the sorority party.
Speech in Congress about
she hates Israel. If she's president, I believe that Israel will not exist within 2 years from now. And I've been pretty good at predictions, and I hope I'm wrong about that one. She hates Israel. At the same time, in her own way, she hates the Arab population because the whole place is going to get blown up. Arabs, Jewish people,
what is he saying?
Israel will be gone.
What are you saying?
It would have never happened. Iran was broke under Donald Trump. Now Iran has $300 billion because they took off all the sanctions that I had. Iran had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah or any of the 28 different spheres of terror. And they are spheres of terror, horrible terror. They had no money. It was a big story, and you know it. You covered it very well, actually. They had no money for terror. They were broke. Now they're a rich nation, and now what they're doing is they're spreading that money around. Look at what's happening with the Houthis and Yemen. Look at what's going on in the Middle East. This would have never happened. I will get that settled and fast, and I'll get the war with Ukraine and Russia ended. If I'm president-elect, I'll get it done before even becoming president.
Vice President Harris, he says you hate
Israel.
He just got hurt. That's absolutely not true. I have my entire career and life supported Israel and the Israeli people. He knows that he's trying to, again, divide and distract from the reality, which is it is very well known that Donald Trump is weak and wrong on national security and foreign policy. It is well known that he admires dictators, wants to be a dictator on day one, according to himself. It is well known that he said of Putin that he can do whatever the hell he wants and go into Ukraine. It is well known that he said when Russia went into Ukraine, it was brilliant. It is well known he exchanged love letters with Kim Jong-un, and it is absolutely well known that these dictators and autocrats are rooting for you to be president again because they're so clear. They can manipulate you with flattery and favors.
Under Trump and then
and that is
Ukraine
why
under Biden.
So many military leaders who you have worked with have told me you are a disgrace. That is why we understand that we have to have a president who is not consistently weak and wrong on national security, including the importance of upholding and respecting in highest regard our military.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
They're the ones, and she's the one that caused it, that's weak on national security by allowing every nation last month for the year, 168 different countries sending people into our country. Their crime rates are way down. Putin endorsed her last week, said, I hope she wins. And I think he meant it.
He did say that.
Because what he's gotten away with is absolutely incredible. It wouldn't have happened with me. The leaders of other countries think that they're weak and incompetent, and they are. They're grossly incompetent. And I just ask one question. Why does Biden go in and kill the Keystone Pipeline and approve the single biggest deal that Russia's ever made, Nord Stream 2, the biggest pipeline anywhere in the world going to Germany and all over Europe? Because they're weak and they're ineffective. And Biden, by the way, gets paid a lot of money.
Thank you. We have a lot of issues to get to.
We'll be right back with much more of this historic ABC News presidential debate from the National Constitution Center right here in Philadelphia. Back in a moment.
Oh my God, guys, that was brutal. Oh my God.
You know when it's supposed to be going to?
What's that?
Do you know what it's supposed to be going to?
I don't know. I thought it was going to be over at 10, but apparently they're going to go for another half hour.
I think it's till 10:30 or 11.
Wow, this is intense. And we still haven't got into the meat and potatoes. Inflation.
Oh my gosh, look at the commercials. They're shit talking them.
Well, it is ABC, NBC.
Like,
so
how biased can you make yourself look?
Think about it. Every news station has not been in the Republicans' favor that they've had the debates on since. The first one was on CNN, for God's sakes. And they couldn't even make Biden look decent with all the prep work, unfortunately.
Dude, this is wild. They're full ramping it up. They don't even care.
Yeah,
literally the commercial is just shitting on one of the candidates. That is so biased.
That's just how it is. I'm just so used to it. I'm numb to it now.
Wow, that's blatant.
I'll be in the kitchen prepping my my meals for dinner and stuff, and I'll be listening to CNN and Fox News and NPR and just back and forth between all of them. It's all sort of kind of crazy. So anyway,
yeah, I do third-party news.
Yeah, nothing's truly unbiased. Nothing. Just gotta get a different kind of crazy. But yeah, what do you guys think so far? Man, we got really close to finishing bingo. All we need them now is to say upper class. That's it, and we win.
I think Trump fell into a couple traps, but he also did rebuttal a couple good sound bites against her.
Yeah, she could tell that she's definitely been rehearsing a lot of those zingers, right?
He spent 2 weeks rehearsing. Trump didn't rehearse at all. He
Was
just
it? Yeah, he did. That's what I heard. He was been advised to, but he just kind of brushed it aside. You can definitely tell he's pulling up a lot of the old.
I'm still appalled by this commercial ad. This is hilarious.
Oh my god. Buck, how do you feel being an outside spectator? I haven't been able to hear you most of the time. Are you still with us? We might have lost him. I think we did. But yeah, it's been interesting. It's been interesting to see. I really cannot believe they did not have touched base at all yet. At all about what's happening here on U.S. soil. It's all been just the same BS. Like, not saying that it's not important to worry about, women's rights and abortion, but we've been over that now for as long as I've been alive. I'm so sick of hearing it.
Affirmative action was one of the most racist policies you could implement.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. I just want them to talk about what their policies are going to be to help the American consumer. Bitcoin sitting at 56,900. Not even. We're down from 57.5, 57.6 before the debate began. Trump kind of pulling down the market on his current rants. Can he redeem himself? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, there's Buck.
Lost in it. I'm watching it on CBS, and that's the one they're doing these commercials on.
Oh, yeah.
Hilarious.
Here's another one there.
I'm just listening in.
From Donald Trump during President debate pushed.
RuneScape.
Oh, you're playing.
Yeah, when are we gonna do some raids, Buck?
Oh my god.
When are you gonna teach me?
I don't know. When are you playing?
I'll play whatever, dude. I'll learn how to, I'll look up the videos and stuff. I want to do it with somebody.
Join us for an analysis.
Okay. Well, right now I'm doing the Oraxo release, so I'm trying to get the items for it. But I just got 200 mil strength.
Damn,
I still cannot believe you guys still play.
Yeah, I don't have super big money, so we'd have to probably do the Twisted Bill one.
Oh, here it comes. We're back.
Yeah.
Presidential debate tonight. We're going to continue here, and I want to turn to the war in Ukraine. We're now 2.5 years into this conflict. Mr. President, it has been the position of the Biden administration that we must defend Ukraine from Russia, from Vladimir Putin, to defend their sovereignty, their democracy, that it's in America's best interest to do so, arguing that if Putin wins, he may be emboldened to move even further into other countries. You have said you would solve this war in 24 hours. You said so just before the break tonight. How exactly would you do that? And I want to ask you a very simple question tonight. Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I want the war to stop. I want to save lives that are being people being killed by the millions. It's the millions. It's so much worse than the numbers that you're getting, which are fake numbers. Look, we're in for 250 billion or more, because they don't ask Europe, which is a much bigger beneficiary to getting this thing done than we are. They're in for $150 billion less because Biden and you don't have the courage to ask Europe like I did with NATO. They paid billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars when I said, either you pay up or we're not going to protect you anymore. So that's maybe one of the reasons they don't like me as much as they like weak people. But you take a look at what's happening. We're in for 250 to 275 billion. They're into 100 to 150. They should be forced to equalize. With that being said, I want to get the war settled. I know Zelensky very well, and I know Putin very well. I have a good relationship, and they respect your president, okay? They respect me. They don't respect Biden. How would you respect him? Why? For what reason? He hasn't even made a phone call in 2 years to Putin, hasn't spoken to anybody. They don't even try and get it. That is a war that's dying to be settled. I will get it settled before I even become president. If I win, when I'm president-elect, and what I'll do is I'll speak to one, I'll speak to the other, I'll get them together. That war would have never happened. And in fact, when I saw Putin after I left, unfortunately left because our country has gone to hell. But after I left, when I saw him building up soldiers, he did it after I left. I said, oh, he must be negotiating. It must be a good, strong point of negotiation. Well, it wasn't, because Biden had no idea how to talk to him. He had no idea how to stop it. And now you have millions of people dead, and it's only getting worse, and it could lead to World War III. Don't kid yourself, David. We're playing with World War III, and we have a president that we don't even know if he's... Where is our president? We don't even know if he's a president.
And just to clarify
they
here...
threw him out of a campaign like a dog. We don't even know. Is he our president? But we have a president,
Mr. President,
that doesn't know he's alive.
Your time is up. Just to clarify in the question, do you believe it's in the U.S. best interest for Ukraine to win this war, yes or no?
I think it's the U.S. best interest to get this war finished and just get it done.
All right.
Negotiate a deal, because we have to stop all of these human lives from being destroyed.
I want to take this to Vice President Harris. I want to get your thoughts on support for Ukraine in this moment, but also, as Commander-in-Chief, if elected, how would you deal with Vladimir Putin, and would it be any different from what we're seeing from President Biden?
Well, first of all, it's important to remind the former president you're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me. I believe the reason that Donald Trump says that this war would be over within 24 hours is because he would just give it up. And that's not who we are as Americans. Let's understand what happened here. I actually met with Zelensky a few days before Russia invaded, tried through force to change territorial boundaries, to defy one of the most important international rules and norms, which is the importance of sovereignty and territorial integrity. And I met with President Zelensky. I shared with him American intelligence about how he could defend himself. Days later, I went to NATO's eastern flank, to Poland and Romania. And through the work that I and others did, we brought 50 countries together to support Ukraine in its righteous defense. And because of our support, because of the air defense, the ammunition, the artillery, the javelins, the Abrams tanks that we have provided, Ukraine stands as an independent and free country. If Donald Trump were president, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv right now. And understand what that would mean, because Putin's agenda is not just about Ukraine. Understand why the European allies and our NATO allies are so thankful that you are no longer president, and that we understand the importance of the greatest military alliance the world has ever known, which is NATO, and what we have done to preserve the ability of Zelensky and the Ukrainians to fight for their independence. Otherwise, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of favor and what you think is a friendship with what is known to be a dictator who would eat you for lunch.
Vice President Harris, thank you. We've heard from both of you on Ukraine tonight. Afghanistan came up in the last hour. I wanted her to respond to something you said earlier, and I'll give you a minute here.
Putin would be sitting in Moscow, and he wouldn't have lost 300,000 men. and women, but he would have been sitting in Moscow. Quiet, please. He would have been sitting in Moscow much happier than he is right now. But eventually, you know, he's got a thing that other people don't have. He's got nuclear weapons. They don't ever talk about that. He's got nuclear weapons. Nobody ever thinks about that. And eventually, maybe he'll use them, and maybe he hasn't been that threatening. But he does have that, something we don't even like to talk about. Nobody likes to talk about it. But just so you understand, they sent her to negotiate peace before this war started. 3 days later, he went in and he started the war because everything they said was weak and stupid. They said the wrong things. That war should have never started. She was the emissary. They sent her in to negotiate with Zelensky and Putin. And she did. And the war started 3 days later. And that's the kind of talent we have with her. She's worse than Biden. In my opinion, I think he's the worst president in the history of our country. She goes down as the worst vice president in the history of our country. But let me tell you something. She is a horrible negotiator. They sent her in to negotiate. As soon as they left, Putin did the invasion.
President Trump, thank you. You did bring up something. You said she went to negotiate with Vladimir Putin. Vice President Harris, have you ever met Vladimir Putin? Can you clarify tonight?
Yet again, I said at the beginning of this debate, you're going to hear a bunch of lies coming from this fellow. And that is another one. When I went to meet with President Zelensky, I've now met with him over 5 times.
Damn, 6'9"
the reality is it has been about standing as America always should. As a leader upholding international rules and norms, as a leader who shows strength, understanding that the alliances we have around the world are dependent on our ability to look out for our friends and not favor our enemies because you adore strongmen instead of caring about democracy. And that is very much what is at stake here. The President of the United States is commander-in-chief. And the American people have a right to rely on a president who understands the significance of America's role and responsibility in terms of ensuring that there is stability and ensuring we stand up for our principles and not sell them for the benefit of personal flattery.
We've talked about Ukraine and Vladimir Putin. I do want to talk about Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of this debate. I want to move on to Afghanistan.
Stoltenberg said Trump did the most amazing thing I've ever seen. He got these countries, 28 countries at the time, to pay up. He said, I've never seen, he's the head of NATO. He said, I've never seen. For years, we were paying almost all of NATO. We were being ripped off by European nations, both on trade and on NATO. I got them to pay up by saying one of the statements you made before, if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you. Otherwise, we would have never gotten it. He said it was one of the most incredible jobs that he's ever seen done.
Thank you. I want to turn to Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of the debate, and we witnessed a poignant moment today on Capitol Hill, honoring the soldiers who died in the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan. I do want to ask the Vice President, do you believe you bear any responsibility in the way that withdrawal played out?
Well, I will tell you, I agreed with President Biden's decision to pull out of Afghanistan. 4 presidents said they would, and Joe Biden did.
What about all the crap we left?
And as a result,
oh my
America's
God.
Taxpayers are not paying the $300 million a day we were paying for that endless war. And as of today, there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone in any war zone around the world, the first time this century. But let's understand how we got to where we are. Donald Trump, when he was president, negotiated one of the weakest deals you can imagine. He calls himself a deal maker. Even his national security advisor said it was a weak, terrible deal. And here's how it went down. He bypassed the Afghan government. He negotiated directly with a terrorist organization called the Taliban. The negotiation involved the Taliban getting 5,000 Taliban terrorists released. And get this, and the president at the time invited the Taliban to Camp David, a place of storied significance for us as Americans, a place where we honor the importance of American diplomacy, where we invite and receive respected world leaders. And this former president, as president, invited them to Camp David because he does not again appreciate the role and responsibility of the President of the United States to be Commander-in-Chief with a level of respect. And this gets back to the point of how he has consistently disparaged and demeaned members of our military, fallen soldiers, and the work that we must do to uphold the strength and the respect of the United States of America around the world.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, your response to her saying that you began the negotiations with the Taliban.
So, if you take a look at that period of time, the Taliban was killing our soldiers, a lot of them, with snipers. And I got involved with the Taliban because the Taliban was doing the killing. That's the fighting force within Afghanistan. They don't bother doing that because, you know, they deal with the wrong people all the time. But I got involved. And Abdul is the head of the Taliban. He is still the head of the Taliban. And I told Abdul, don't do it anymore. You do it anymore, you're going to have problems. And he said, why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you're going to have to figure that out, Abdul. And for 18 months, we had nobody killed. We did have an agreement negotiated by Mike Pompeo. It was a very good agreement. The reason it was good, it was we were getting out. We would have been out faster than them, but we wouldn't have lost the soldiers. We wouldn't have left many Americans behind, and we wouldn't have left $85 billion worth of brand new, beautiful military equipment behind. And just to finish, they blew it. The agreement said you have to do this, and they didn't do it. They didn't do it. The agreement was terminated by us because they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
I want to move on.
And these people did the worst withdrawal, and in my opinion, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And by the way, that's why Russia attacked Ukraine, because they saw how incompetent she and her boss are.
President Trump, thank you. I want to move on now to race and politics in this country. Mr. President, you recently said of Vice President Harris, I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black.
Here we go.
I want to ask a bigger picture question here tonight.
This is important.
Why do you believe it's appropriate to weigh in on the racial identity of your opponent?
I don't, and I don't care. I don't care what she is. I don't care. You make a big deal out of something, I couldn't care less. Whatever she wants to be is okay with me.
But those were your words, so I'm asking.
I don't know. I mean, all I can say is I read where she was not black, that she put out, and I'll say that. And then I read that she was black, and that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her. That's up to her.
Vice President Harris, your thoughts on this?
I think it's, I mean, honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president who has consistently, over the course of his career, attempted to use race to divide the American people. You know, I do believe that the vast majority of us know that we have so much more in common than what separates us, and we don't want this kind of approach that is just constantly trying to divide us, and especially by race. And let's remember how Donald Trump started. He was land, he owned buildings, and he was investigated because he refused to rent property to black families. Let's remember, this is the same individual who took out a full-page ad in the New York Times
these are definitely
calling for the execution of 5 young black and Latino boys who were innocent, the Central Park 5. Took out a full-page ad calling for their execution. This is the same individual who spread birther lies about the first black president of the United States. And I think the American people want better than that, want better than this, want someone who understands, as I do, I travel our country. We see in each other a friend. We see in each other a neighbor. We don't want a leader who is constantly trying to have Americans point their fingers at each other. I meet with people all the time who tell me, can we please just have discourse about how we're going to invest in the aspirations and the ambitions and the dreams of the American people? knowing that regardless of people's color or the language their grandmother speaks, we all have the same dreams and aspirations and want a president who invests in those, not in hate and division.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
Lindsay?
President Trump, this is now your third time.
This is the most divisive presidency in the history of our country. There's never been anything like it. They're destroying our country, and they come up with things like what she just said. Going back many, many years, when a lot of people, including Mayor Bloomberg, agreed with me on the Central Park Five, they admitted, they said, they pled guilty. And I said, well, if they pled guilty, they badly hurt a person, killed a person ultimately. And if they pled guilty, then they pled, we're not guilty. But this is a person that has to stretch back years, 40, 50 years ago, because there's nothing now. I built one of the greatest economies in the history of the world, and I'm going to build it again. It's going to be bigger, better, and stronger. But they're destroying our economy. They have no idea what a good economy is. Their oil policies, every single policy. And remember this. She is Biden. You know, she's trying to get away from Biden. I don't know the gentleman, she says. She is Biden. The worst inflation we've ever had, a horrible economy because inflation has made it so bad.
Inflation! Let's go!
But she can't get away with that.
Thank you.
Real topics are facing in our country, not someone else's.
Clearly, I am not Joe Biden, and I am certainly not Donald Trump. And what I do offer is a new generation of leadership for our country. One who believes in what is possible, one who brings a sense of optimism about what we can do instead of always disparaging the American people. I believe in what we can do to strengthen our small businesses, which is why I have a plan. Let's talk about
what are we doing?
And let's compare the plans. I have a plan to give startup businesses $50,000 tax deduction.
More printing, more money printing.
Their ambitions, their innovation, their ideas, their hard work. I have a plan, $6,000 for young families for the first year of your child's life to help you in that most critical stage of your child's development. I have a plan that is about allowing people to be able to pursue what has been fleeting in terms of the American dream by offering a help with down payment of $25,000
which is going to increase the price of every house by $25,000 or more.
That's the kind of conversation I believe, David,
that's obvious.
that
should
really
be obvious to everyone,
tonight,
right?
as opposed to a conversation that is constantly about belittling and name-calling. Let's turn the page
Vice President
and move
Harris,
forward.
thank you. Let's turn to policy.
President
Let's
Trump,
turn back
we
to
have
policy.
to move on.
Let him say something.
Let's turn to policy, please.
Let him say something
to
about
defund the police. She has a plan to confiscate everybody's gun.
President Trump,
she has
no.
Here we go.
Pennsylvania or anywhere else.
Okay.
That's what her plan is until just recently.
I just need
Lindsay,
to
go ahead.
respond because
Trump,
no, the
President
former
Trump.
president has said something
sorry.
twice that I need to respond to.
I'm sorry, we're
I
going
just
to
need
move on,
respond
Vice
one time to what
President.
he has
President
said.
Trump, this is now your third time running for president. You have long vowed to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. You have failed to accomplish that. You now say you're going to keep Obamacare, quote, unless we can do something much better. Last month you said, quote, we're working on it. So tonight, 9 years after you first started running, do you have a plan, and can you tell us what it is?
Obamacare was lousy health care, always was. It's not very good today. And what I said, that if we come up with something, and we are working on things, we're going to do it and we're going to replace it. But remember this, I inherited Obamacare because Democrats wouldn't change it. They wouldn't vote for it. They were unanimous. They wouldn't vote to change it. If they would have done that, we would have had a much better plan than Obamacare. But the Democrats came up, they wouldn't vote for it. I had a choice to make when I was president. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, never going to be great, or do I let it rot? And I felt I had an obligation, even though politically it would have been good to just let it rot and let it go away. I decided, and I told my people, the top people, and they're very good people. I have a lot of good people in that administration. We read about the bad ones. We have some real bad ones too, and so do they. They have really bad ones. The difference is they don't get rid of them. But let me just explain. I had a choice to make. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, or do I let it rot? And I saved it. I did the right thing. But it's still never going to be great, and it's too expensive for people. And what we will do is we're looking at different plans. If we can come up with a plan that's going to cost our people, our population, less money and be better health care than Obamacare, then I would absolutely do it. But until then, I'd run it as good as it can be run.
So just
We have
yes,
3
you
seconds
still do
about
not have a
inflation
plan.
so far.
I have
Come on.
concepts of
We
a
need
plan.
more.
I'm not president right now. But if we come up with something, I would only change it if we come up with something that's better and less expensive. And there are concepts and options we have to do that, and you'll be hearing about it in the not-too-distant future.
Vice President Harris, in 2017, you supported Bernie Sanders' proposal to do away with private insurance and create a government-run healthcare system. 2 years later, you proposed a plan that included a private insurance option. What is your plan today?
Well, first of all, I absolutely support, and over the last 4 years as vice president, private health care options. But what we need to do is maintain and grow the Affordable Care Act. But I'll get to that, Lindsay. I just like to respond to a previous point that the former president has made. I've made very clear my position on fracking. And then this business about taking everyone's guns away. Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away. So stop with the continuous lying about this stuff. As it relates to the Affordable Care Act, understand, just look at the history to know where people stand. When Donald Trump was president, 60 times he tried to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. 60 times. I was a senator at the time when I will never forget the early morning hours when it was up for a vote in the United States Senate. And the late, great John McCain, who you have disparaged as being, you don't like him, you said, at the time because he got caught. He was an American hero. The late, great John McCain, I will never forget that night, walked onto the Senate floor and said, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't get rid of the Affordable Care Act. You have no plan. And what the Affordable Care Act has done is eliminate the ability of insurance companies to deny people with pre-existing conditions. I don't have to tell the people watching tonight, you remember what that was like? Remember when an insurance company could deny if a child had asthma, if someone was a breast cancer survivor, if a grandparent had diabetes? And thankfully, as I've been vice president and we over the last 4 years have strengthened the Affordable Care Act, we have allowed for the first time Medicare to negotiate drug prices on behalf of you, the American people. Donald Trump said he was going to allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices. He never did. We did. And now we have capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month. Since I've been vice president, we have capped the cost of prescription medication for seniors at $2,000 a year. And when I am president, we will do that for all people, understanding that the value I bring to this is that access to health care should be a right and not just a privilege of those who can afford it. And the plan
can we afford it with $35 trillion in debt, Kamala?
The Affordable Care Act, not get rid of it.
Vice President Harris,
in terms of where Donald Trump stands on that.
upper class, and we get bingo.
That's important for a lot
made a mistake. At number one, John McCain fought Obamacare for 10 years. But it wasn't only him. It were all of the Democrats that kept it going. And you know what? We can do much better than Obamacare, much less money. But she won't improve private insurance for people, private medical insurance. That's another thing she doesn't want to get. People are paying privately for insurance that have worked hard and made money, and they want to have private. She wants everybody to be on government insurance where you wait 6 months for an operation that you need immediately.
President Trump, thank you. We have another issue that we'd like to get to that's important for a number of Americans, in particular younger voters, and that's climate change. President Trump, with regard to the environment, you say that we have to have clean air and clean water. Vice President Harris, you call climate change an existential threat. The question to you both tonight is, what would you do to fight climate change? And Vice President Harris, we'll start with you. 1 minute for you each.
Well, the former president had said the climate change is a hoax. And what we know is that it is very real. You ask anyone who lives in a state who has experienced these extreme weather occurrences, who now is either being denied home insurance or it's being jacked up. You ask anybody who has been the victim of what that means in terms of losing their home, having nowhere to go. We know that we can actually deal with this issue. The young people of America care deeply about this issue. And I am proud that as vice president over the last 4 years, we have invested $1 trillion in a clean energy economy, while we have also increased domestic gas production to historic levels. We have created over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs while I have been vice president.
And we printed $380 billion in the last 2
energy to the point that we are opening up factories around the world. Donald Trump said he was going to create manufacturing jobs. He lost manufacturing jobs. And I'm also proud to have the endorsement of the United Auto Workers and Sean Fain, who also know that part of building a clean energy economy includes investing in American-made products, American automobiles. It includes growing what we can do around American manufacturing and opening up auto plants, not closing them like happened under Donald Trump.
Vice President Harris,
Talking
thank
about
you.
that in Pennsylvania with steel industry.
They lost 10,000 manufacturing jobs this last month. It's going, they're all leaving. They're building big auto plants in Mexico, in many cases owned by China.
They've been doing that for almost a decade now.
They're building these massive plants, and they think they're going to sell their cars into the United States because of these people. What they have given to China is unbelievable. But we're not going to let that. We'll put tariffs on those cars so they can't come into our country, because they will kill the United Auto Workers and any auto worker, whether it's in Detroit or South Carolina or any other place. What they've done to business and manufacturing in this country is horrible. We have nothing because they refuse. You know, Biden doesn't go after people because supposedly China paid him millions of dollars. He's afraid to do it. Between him and his son, they get all this money from Ukraine. They get all this money from all of these different countries. And then you wonder, why is he so loyal to this one, that one, Ukraine, China? Why is he? Why did he get $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife? Why did she pay him $3.5 million? This is a crooked administration, and they're selling our country down the tubes.
President Trump, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with closing statements from both of our
Hey,
candidates.
What about inflation? What about our country? What about our country? Not other people's countries. What are we doing? What is wrong with our country? How can everyone ignore this?
Yeah, I'm here, but I'm like dozing off.
Oh
That's
my
right. Hey,
god.
I was looking at the rapier and the fang, and the fang's got better stats around the board. So what did you mean by that?
So
you guys are talking about
sorry, not to like bore everybody who's
Minecraft. Mine RuneScape. You guys are talking about RuneScape?
I knew you were about to say Mein Kampf, you racist fuck.
What? Well, anyway, you guys can derail this if you want. It's fine. But yeah, it's insane.
Just the one question.
Okay, the one question for the RuneScapers out there.
So the main difference is that the Fang is a 5-tick weapon, right? And it has a double roll on an attack. So basically it's ideal for monsters that are higher defense. So even though it has a max hit on anything that has low defense, it's a bit of a loss of damage over time.
Okay.
The Fang, sorry, not the Fang, but the Rapier is a 4-tick. Although it doesn't have the double roll, it does hit very high.
Got you. Okay. Alright, so like for overall DPS, the rapier is better.
Yeah, I would say so.
Well, how do you guys feel about this right now? They're not even talking about inflation. They're not talking about the state of the U.S. economy. They're talking about people crying in their vehicles live on TikTok, viral videos every single day.
I honestly thought that this was going to be a lot of filler, and they're probably only going to have like 20 to 30 minutes of actual issues.
Oh my god. Honestly, at this point, it hasn't even been 5 minutes of actual issues.
Well, I don't know about you, but I find great entertainment in the fact that people are making TikToks about living in their Teslas.
Yeah, or the vans. A lot of people are doing the vans now with the solar panels on the roof.
I've seen them trimming the
mandatory
Cybertrucks and the campers. Have you guys seen those videos?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's an expensive camper.
That's a very expensive camper. That's not a minimalist camper for any stretch of the imagination. With the approximate money needed to create said camper. But it's unfortunate that I just can't believe that like they are literally blowing over this. It's almost like they're doing this on purpose to collapse our economy by ignoring all the key issues, especially on a very liberal news station. So I'm kind of concerned. I feel like they're doing this on purpose.
Well, they gotta keep away from records, because, I mean, Harris doesn't really have the best record on a lot of things, so I think they're more focused on the future.
Oh man! But the future of everything she's proposing, or at least her previous cabinet's proposing, is going to collapse our economy faster. I mean, both sides are going to collapse our economy.
The mandatory gun buyback thing that she wants is.
I'm not familiar with that particular piece of it, but
basically they want to do a buyback program that takes all long guns off the streets.
Kind of like what they did in Australia?
Yes.
Really?
They did it in Australia too, yeah.
But for every firearm.
Yeah, so like if you don't come and surrender it and get like a quarter of what the gun's actually worth, like they'll come and take you to prison.
How will they defend themselves against the kangaroos?
That's true.
It's a baseless claim about Haitian immigrants eating Ohio cats and dogs in the streets. It's not entirely baseless.
Didn't they say that the mayor of that city said that was bullshit?
Well, I just showed. I actually have some Twitter videos of it. I could show you guys when we're done. They're also doing it in other countries too.
Please join us for analysis of tonight's key moment.
I mean, I like Rio just as much as the next person, but I feel like that statement of them eating domestic pets is a lie.
Oh my god! All right, here we go.
Here we go. Closing statements.
Welcome back tonight. The time has come for closing statements. Vice President Harris, we begin with you.
So I think you've heard tonight two very different visions for our country. One that is focused on the future, and the other that is focused on the past, and an attempt to take us backward. But we're not going back. And I do believe that the American people know we all have so much more in common than what separates us. And we can chart a new way forward. And a vision of that includes having a plan, understanding the aspirations, the dreams, the hopes, the ambition of the American people, which is why I intend to create an opportunity economy, investing in small businesses, in new families, in what we can do around protecting seniors, what we can do that is about giving hardworking folks a break and bringing down the cost of living. I believe in what we can do together that is about sustaining America's standing in the world and ensuring that we have the respect that we so rightly deserve, including respecting our military and ensuring we have the most lethal fighting force in the world. I will be a president that will protect our fundamental rights and freedoms, including the right of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. I'll tell you, I started my career as a prosecutor. I was a DA, I was an attorney general, a United States senator, and now vice president. I've only had one client, the people. And I'll tell you, as a prosecutor, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them, are you okay? And that's the kind of president we need right now. Someone who cares about you and is not putting themselves first. I intend to be a president for all Americans and focus on what we can do over the next 10 and 20 years to build back up our country by investing right now in you, the American people.
Replacing us all by robots and AI.
Thank you. President Trump.
Faster than everyone else can.
So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs, and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it, and you won't do it because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in. You believe in things like we're not going to frack. We're not going to take fossil fuel. We're not going to do things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. Germany tried that, and within 1 year, they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world, they're laughed. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me. They call me. We're laughed at all over the world. They don't understand what happened to us as a nation. We're not a leader. We don't have any idea what's going on. We have wars going on in the Middle East. We have wars going on with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and it'll be a war like no other because of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. I rebuilt our entire military. She gave a lot of it away to the Taliban. She gave it to Afghanistan. What these people have done to our country, and maybe toughest of all, is allowing millions of people to come into our country. Many of them are criminals, and they're destroying our country. The worst president, the worst vice president in the history of our country.
President Trump, thank you. And that is our ABC News presidential debate from here in Philadelphia at the National Constitution Center. I'm Lindsay Davis.
And I'm David Muir. Thank you for watching here in the U.S. and all over the world, and from all of us here at ABC News. Good night.
And welcome back to NBC News coverage of the debate. Pick your adjective.
Because she doesn't have any policy, man. If she says anything about policy, she's losing votes.
Damn, man, that sucks.
Anything about policy, she's losing
that's right.
votes. Anything. She will steer far away from that if possible.
And no one's talking about the prices of... No one even mentioned the price of goods. I mean, well, Trump did one rant he had that towards the end he mentioned it, but still, like, wasn't enough there.
No. Yeah, no.
And that's affecting everyone right now. I mean, these videos, dude, it's intense. What's happening right now with these? I don't know if you've seen the latest viral video that's been going around Twitter and TikTok and YouTube. Well, this girl was breaking down her car, basically talking about how she went to school for so many years and got a associate's degree or whatever, and she's going nowhere in her job, and and she can't afford anything. I'm sharing it on my Twitter. Meanwhile, we just have Biden sitting there eating ice cream on a skateboard.
Due to its territory being invaded by a
Camarasaurus,
the Homo Kidsniffer Maximus is enjoying its solitude. As it skates through various terrain, it enjoys its favorite snack, ice cream.
Oh my god. Yeah, so that's a thing. Yeah, AI is great, guys. I love AI. And of course, this is what we're doing with our net worth versus crypto in reality. This is our food budget, and this is our crypto budget. And then, yeah, Robert F. Kennedy just asking us all to vote for Trump, because every vote for Trump is a vote for Kennedy, and a victory for Kennedy as well. But yeah, this one video I just wanted to show down here real
just
quick.
Work their ass off for like the last 3 or 4 years for like a college degree, and now you have a job that you hate, and you still can't afford life, and you're still fucking miserable, and you can't pay any of your bills, and you can't live in the house that you imagine, and you just feel lied to. Because you thought that if you just went to college and got a degree, you'd be able to afford a house and like things that make you happy, but yet you're still barely can afford groceries or clothes or literally anything that makes you happy at all, and you had to spend the whole entire weekend in your bed because you literally don't have any money to go do anything other, like if you buy food you just can't have an entertainment budget. So I'm just wondering if anyone else is dealing with something like this, or if it's just me, because this shit ain't it. Does anyone else just work their ass off for like the last year?
Yeah, there's more and more of those videos coming out every single day. These videos started last year. Been going pretty viral now. Everyone's had enough, man. Everyone in our country's had enough. And now we have, I don't know if you saw that video of that sheriff in, was it North Carolina? Who was basically starting to, it seemed like, rally other counties in the area to, oh man, was it? I'm pretty sure I could find it. Like, just type in sheriff on Twitter. Oh my God, what am I doing? I had a little too much juice tonight. Oh God. But have you seen that, Merc?
What is it?
This one. Sheriff isn't playing around. A call for militia in surrounding North Carolina counties. Apparently, he's trying to rally some sort of movement for his state. I'm assuming succeeding the the state.
Yeah, there's a lot of places talking about doing that.
I don't want to play it because it's pretty radical, but I mean, there's a lot of things happening. Maybe not militia, right? Militia, but also now Wyoming is pushing a stablecoin for their state. That would succeed the U.S. dollar in their own state as a different currency, their own digital coin. So unfortunately, we did not win the bingo tonight, guys. Unfortunately, we were one away. I mean, unless you guys notice a cognitive decline on Kamala or Trump, I did not, and they did not mention the upper class at all. Yet alone the middle class. They didn't even mention the middle class, which is kind of a letdown. I was disappointed. I was disappointed. I really wanted to see at least a large segment based on the U.S. decline, and all we got that was out of Trump because the left does not want to acknowledge it because they're currently the incumbent, right? They don't want to acknowledge it. It's unfortunate, but it's just our country we're talking about. Both sides. It's important for both sides.
It is.
Yep. You have anything else to close on, Merc, for tonight? I'm going to end the stream. Hope you guys had a great night. Any closing statements, Merc, you got?
I'm good, man. I think everyone kind of saw.
It is what it is.
Their opinions already made.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Hopefully we get at least one more debate before the end of this, but I just don't think they're going to allow one side or the other to speak after this. I think it's going to be kind of set in stone, and it's still really... To me, it feels like it's going to be decisive for the normies to figure out what they want to vote on. It's unfortunate, but that's where we're at.
It's fear rhetoric on both sides, is what it is, man.
Yeah, it really is. And Bitcoin kind of falling down, settling down at 57, holding on that trend line there, right into Bitcoin Chan's armpit for the evening. We're just going to have to wait and see if this plays out. I'm going to probably move this a little bit downward now. See if we can spike back up through the evening into the opening tomorrow for CPI reading for Jerome Powell. And the interest rate hike cut. Hopefully a 25 to 50 basis rate cut tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon will be about 1 to 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Guys, keep on the lookout. Again, do not ignore this market. We're still sitting in a fire sale. I will see you guys tomorrow. So Otaku signing out. Peace. Later. Again, don't sell your bags. Don't be stupid. Don't do all the things. You know how it goes. I shouldn't have to reiterate. Don't do it. Don't do it. All right. See ya. Later.
Insufficient. We can make the dollar the most attractive currency by continuing to have the rule of law. You always print money to do that. I suppose it would diminish our status as the reserve currency. Just shut up. There's no expectation of privacy above the in the sky.
So Bitcoin is the solution because you can buy Bitcoin right.
Damn it, Benny! Oh! We're gonna burn it down! Here it goes! Oh no! Oh no! We can't finish burning Benny off, apparently. There we go. There he goes. There he goes! Bye-bye, Benny! Bye-bye! Later!
bet.